nice one for clicking on this video. Did you know, as a club legend, you can get 20% off all Redmen merch? Just go to redmenplus.com, sign up as a club legend, and there you go, 20% off all Redmen merch. Up the Reds. Let's get into your show.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Redmen Podcast. I'm Paul Machin, I'm joined by Chloe Bloxham, Steve Hoare. The football has gone away for a bit, certainly the Liverpool related football, but it's coming back sooner than we'd anticipated. We're going to be talking about Liverpool's mid-season tournament in a little bit. We're also going to be picking up on the Southampton game for a bit, talking about where we are, and then revisiting some season predictions and having a good old chat about how crap some of our rivals are and what a bad player Cristiano Ronaldo is, because everyone else is jumping on the bandwagon. I figure we might as well do it as well. If you are here live right now on YouTube, then you can interact with us by using the comments box. Thoughts on anything that we discuss, then can go in there. And if you're listening after the fact or whatever on a Spotify or an iTunes or whatever, then do give us a 5-star review, because it all helps.
What if they're on Twitter, Paul?
If you're on Twitter, then enjoy it while it lasts.
Bye.
Yeah, come and join us on YouTube if you're watching live on Twitter as well. Okay, let's dive into it. We haven't bothered with a kickoff question this week because I'd like to say there was a more deep reason behind it. I just haven't found one. So I want to ask the question.
Oh, great podcasting.
Yeah, everyone loves a bit of dead air on a podcast.
It's his job, believe it or not.
If you could live the life, and someone has asked us very similar questions to this, so I apologise.
Oh, I already know my answer. If you're going where you're going.
Of any Liverpool player, past
you're
or
not going
present,
where I thought you were going.
Whose life would you lead and why?
Come on, Chloe, I'll let you go first.
Ooh.
I've got my answer. Do you want me to shall I go while you have
yeah,
a think?
I was thinking just anyone in the world. That's where my head went to. But yeah, go on, you go first.
Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Paddy Edwards.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Wow.
Can understand it.
Okay.
Can I give who I would have said if it wasn't Liverpool?
Yeah.
Dua Lipa, 100% Dua Lipa.
Okay.
Now probably.
You'd have so many minutes in your bedroom and you'd never leave the house.
Yeah. I'd just sit there and listen to myself sing. Just put me on loop. I'd like to be.
That'd make our boss-employee relationship very awkward as well, if that was the case. If you did like Dua Lipa, I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, I'm too ugly for that, apparently.
No one said that.
I'm going to go with Alisson Becker, because he's just handsome, isn't he? I'd like to be the most attractive.
That video of him, or that picture of him arriving in Rome to meet with the Brazil squad. It's outrageous.
You know you're a gorgeous human when you can wear stupid clothes and still look absolutely gorgeous.
And just shave one day.
Yeah.
Like usually just losing the beard is a bold move for a man, and he just goes, no, I'm taking it every day. If I lost this beard now, I would look like a giant egg. I didn't like when you took your beard off. One day you just walked in with no beard and it was like, I don't know about that. Alisson just rocked it straight away. So I think that shows the confidence of the man as well.
I'd rather him with a beard and in a suit. The day he rocked up on, when he signed, I don't know why anyone thought he would not do well at Liverpool Football Club, because he looked incredible. Yeah. He looked the part. So I'd rather him with a beard, but he can pull off both.
I wonder if it's... Yeah, there's an era thing here, and I'm not sure I want to necessarily be like one of the modern players as such, because I don't think they have as much fun.
Yeah.
And maybe there's something to
But they got way more money.
Oh yeah. But comparatively, someone like Kenny, for example, or Rushy, or John Barnes, who were in an era where you could still go out and have a life, and my God, did they go out and have a life.
Or any of the mid-90s team.
Maybe I think that was just crossing over because Robbie Fowler used to get filled in every time he went to town. Yeah. So that was a bit that was just when it crossed over into people started to care and give too much of a shit about it. Everyone started to take it too personally when the Premier League came along. But prior, I think when squad numbers were invented, football went downhill basically because all of a sudden you really knew. Whereas all that team like this, 60s, 70s, and 80s. they'd be, the 80s in particular, they'd be in Kirkland's in town after the game, and they'd be in there the next day, and they'd be there through the week when they'd finish training, having bevies and going out, and you know, and you hear the stories of them. We've got the My Liverpool debut series coming up, and we got a couple of quite interesting answers from a few of them about like what it was like being a young player who's cracked it into the first team, and all of a sudden you're idolised. I reckon the nearest equivalent to that is being like a starting player now for like a second or third division team, where you are an absolute legend in your own town. You know, like you're the best player for Shrewsbury. I bet you're getting bevies ball for you left, right and centre. I bet you can go out town and you can like herd a load of cattle through the town centre, and everyone will just like bow down before you. Basically like Freddie Flintoff in Preston is kind of what I'm driving at with that. So I would go with, I reckon John Barnes. I reckon to be John Barnes
would be awesome.
Would have been absolutely.
Because you've also got the music crossover as well, so you've made yourself into a musician as well.
Multi-talented. You know, got to tear apart Brazil at one point, and you can be remembered forever for being better than Brazil.
And now you can just, you know, live your life comfortably. Looks like he has a good life, doesn't he?
Yeah, go and hang out in Premier Inns and get paid for it. Like you mean? I think that's pretty decent. Let me know your answers in the comments if you like, or after the fact, of course. Jeremiah here says Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I can understand that. You'd be the Bayer Leverkusen manager right now. Is that a good thing? I'm
not asked for being the Bayer Leverkusen manager, but being able to just saunter around, being
Xabi Alonso,
the coolest man on the planet.
Yeah.
In Xabi Alonso.
Another man who looks good in a suit.
And with the beard. You got the beard and actually went up in like just coolness things. He was like the face of Hugo Boss for a while, wasn't he? And all kinds. Yeah, very, very cool.
Good answer.
Indeed. It's a good answer. Joel Westbury says Emile Heskey. It's a lot of work. It was a lot of work being Emile Heskey in the early 2000s. Basically carrying Michael Owen, a one-legged Michael Owen around the pitch for his final couple of seasons. Not sure. I mean, then again, Emile is the loveliest human being on planet Earth.
He's a great guy.
He is fantastic. Okay.
Oh, and maybe I might be wrong. Didn't Emile have that interview with that lady the other day? That
I can't remember what her name is.
You liked her, didn't you?
Yeah, she's an Italian presenter. She was there at the Napoli game. Is one of the most attractive people on the face of planet Earth.
The one that you took photos of and sent.
The one that we had to find out who she was because. Like
that made it sound creepy, and it really was creepy at the same time. So it was just.
You all wanted to know. Just saying. Like you all wanted to, and I wasn't the one who tracked down the Instagram. By the way, there's another member.
Dan Club within seconds.
Wow, I could have said it was Dan.
I'm telling everyone, if you're looking for they always say the best way to find anything out in England or in Liverpool is to just get Scouse girls on the social media hunt. Dan Club can be involved in this as well. Dan Club found that girl's Insta, LinkedIn, Facebook in about 4 seconds. Again, kind of creepy, but
got a MySpace and everything. But Emile Heskey, he's got a good life. Emile, he gets to be in Liverpool. He gets to be like treated as a Liverpool legend, really fondly remembered, walking amongst a pantheon of gods, and then every now and again he just goes back to Leicester, and he's adored there as well, but with, I imagine, far less pressure. Just like
didn't he help save them at one point? Like money, like financially, him and Gary Lineker were involved in something where was he in a? I don't know, honestly. That sounds like a thing. He would do that. You'd think as well.
Charles Reynolds is John Aldridge.
Just being on the new Christmas advert.
Yeah, I have to say, and it's a sad state of affairs where I didn't want to pop my head above the parapet and give Liverpool any praise. But I love that Christmas advert. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's boss.
They do a great job. The retail team, and we've worked with a few of the retail team over the years. They do a really, really, really good job. It's funny because again, it's one of those things that the way the club's structured. People think Liverpool it's like I don't want to get. I'm not getting stuck into the FSG stuff at the moment, but. People think of it as like it's this big run company. There's people in that business. Liverpool are a medium-sized business. Everton, when you go to Goodison Park and you walk into their main foyer, they've got small business awards on their walls because Everton Football Club is a small business. Liverpool are bigger than that. They're a bit more. They're obviously more global. They've got stores and stuff across the world. But Liverpool are not a huge business, and they have got in several departments. They've got. It's like being in a normal office and you've got a very small number of people with a very limited budget trying to do things. So the retail team killed it in that Christmas advert. I just loved the cheekiness of it. I genuinely like the idea that I think Aldo would. Yeah.
Go and have a kickabout
on the training ground if he could do. Yeah, good shout. And I bet he had a boss couple of years, Aldo. I mean, he was a Liverpool player for what? 2 seasons?
Yeah.
And Ben brightly but shortly carried on with his career and is just idolised by the whole city. Yeah. Good. Very good shout indeed. Okay, we're going to move on after the break. We're going to be talking about a little bit about Southampton. I don't think anyone gives a shit about that game, do they? But we'll move on from that. I want to talk about Liverpool's winter plans, and then later on in the show we're going to be revisiting season predictions, chatting about City, Arsenal, Newcastle, the Ev, and Ronaldo as well, so stay tuned. Hey everyone, Mate here. If you're looking to kit yourself out with the best possible Liverpool-themed Christmas jumper this festive period, then head to redmenmerch.com. We have got two incredible designs. In red and in green is one, and we've got a grey, white and red one as well to make sure no matter what your style is, whether you're going for the sort of ugly look or whether you're going for super stylish, showcase your love for the mighty Reds in full festive fashion this year with our knitted Christmas jumpers. Head to redmenmerch.com. Yep, get involved, get your Christmas jumpers ordered right now. We do this every year. If you've been with us for a long time, you'll be well aware of the fact that we've done Christmas jumpers and sweatshirts for. The first one we did was going back to Brendan Rodgers, and they've flown ever since. So yeah, if you want one for Christmas, if you want one for an office party and all that kind of stuff, then make sure you get them boxed quick because they will fly out. Okay, Chloe, hi. Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. Probably the closest thing Liverpool have had to a routine win all season. In fact, if that was the usual template for how we win football matches in a season. So as much as it wasn't like a brilliant where were you when Liverpool beat Southampton 3-1 moment, it was nice just to kind of see out this part of the season with almost the minimum fuss.
Yeah, it felt calm, to be honest. The first half, I think we played some of the best football we've played all season. The triangles, the link-up play, especially between, obviously, our front three and Harvey Elliott was incredible. The wing-backs got forward, Robbo, obviously bombing on and getting a couple of assists. It felt like we actually knew who each other were and had played football together, which we haven't done a lot of this season. The second half, they obviously had a couple of big chances that they didn't take, and Ali had to step up. But yeah, it felt pretty much like, oh, this is the Liverpool we know. We had to grind through it a tiny bit in the second half, but you're going to always have to do that in every game. Yeah. The opposition are going to have chances. You've just got to limit how many and how good they are. So yeah, the Reds felt like at half time it could have been 5. It really felt that way. The
biggest thing, takeaways from it, we've already given some love already, Steve, but the Alisson love off the back is great. You know, we did the World Cup preview yesterday, which is going out
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday on Plus, and we had a good old chat about Ali and how he's got a chance in this coming tournament to cement himself as the best goalie on the planet and possibly the best goalie of all time. But he's been our star man. You know, we did the live show this week. There was a lot of people who were vociferous in their claims that Alisson's been our player of the season so far.
And that's a good thing and a bad thing. You know, it's a good. You know, it's good because, you know, when you pay money to sign the best goalie in the world, having the best goalie in the world it really helps you out. The bad news is, like, Alisson's always been this good. He just hasn't always been this tested. Like, usually it's one save a game from Ali. You know, like, I was saying this to Sam yesterday. We did the final word show, so I don't repeat myself too much. But usually with Ali, he has to make one excellent one-on-one save, because Liverpool play a high line, and it's just that at some point the other team break it once, and he's the best goalkeeper in the world at one-on-ones. But this season we've had to rely more on him, like his actual shot stopping ability. We hadn't seen that much of it, generally speaking, because just didn't need to do it. Really, Liverpool were so solid defensively. Very rarely did someone get chances in and around the box. That isn't this season. Liverpool are not watertight. You can get through Liverpool. Southampton played through Liverpool 2 or 3 times, and that's when you need your big players to stand up, and he has been our best player this season considerably. So he's unbelievable, really. And the third save from Che Adams is just out of this world. It's ridiculous, but the others aren't easy saves. You know, he's so good. I mentioned that thing about the one-on-ones. He is so good at them. Like, the El Yunusi one, he knows to stand up. Is it Adozi? He knows to go down. His decision making in those situations is just always spot on. So yeah, it's a huge help. Without him, God knows where the season would be. It could be a lot worse. But yeah, I suppose it's one of the. That's what happens. You spend money. Usually, when you spend big money, you get that's what you get. You get top class players, and I've got no doubt about it. Like, he's the best goalkeeper on the planet for me. I wouldn't swap him for anyone. He is just out of this world. Hopefully, after the World Cup break, we see less of him, because you don't want your goalies, like, you know, it's like it's like a boxer who's got really good defensive skills. Yeah, well, you know, or he's really good at taking a punch. Yeah, well, you don't really want to be taking a punch because at some point you're going to get knocked out. We don't want to keep having to rely on Alisson Becker, but that was like. You mentioned like people aren't going to remember too much about that game. I think that'll go down as a game. Like even in 10 years or so, when everyone's talking reminiscing about Ali, it was. Do you remember that game against Southampton when I think that will be talked about. Yeah, because of that's how good he is.
I mean, it's the fact that we can talk about it as a routine win and a one where the goalies had to make a couple of 2 or 3 really, really good saves. It's the point. That the goalie's that good that is kind of routine, which is cool. The other player that I want to talk about is Darwin Nunez.
I love him, Paul. I fucking love him. Yeah. He might be my favourite at the minute.
He's got 9 goals in 18 appearances for us now.
2 assists as well.
3 assists as all comes, yeah, because of Charity Shield as well. He's brilliant, and I love him, and I'm glad that I do, because I've said I had some doubts, and there's still some people. I mean, it was a random one where some random piss fella came up to us in the pub beforehand the game, didn't he? And started to say as though he doesn't get it, and he's worried about his finishing. There's a lot of people who say worried, and like they've been very vocal about Darwin Nunez in recent weeks. I did a video on my channel the other day about how those guys. There was a guy in the stands who was really, really cross with him for not scoring against Leeds when Meslier made 2 brilliant pieces of goalkeeping, to deny him. But Chloe, yeah, the more he plays, the better he gets.
If Darwin Nunez is on the pitch, I'm excited. He's the player where my eyes go to all the time, whether he's off the ball or on the ball. His constant running. He looks shattered throughout every single minute of the football game that he plays because he puts so much into it. And when he gets the ball, I just don't know what he's going to do. It's so exciting to see. And at the beginning, I was worried for him in terms of it just felt like he was snatching at things and it felt like he was overthinking it. And I was more worried for him feeling the pressure, but you can see how deadly he is. I mean, he was playing off the left wing, and yet the 2 goals he scores are striker instinct goals.
On that, I think he actually looks better left wing. I think it suits him more. It'd be interesting.
I think it suits Liverpool.
It suits Andy Robertson more, definitely. It's much easier for Andy Robbo to have Nunez in front of him than Diaz, because Nunez will vacate space where Diaz comes to the ball. It'll be interesting when Jota and Diaz come back, what they do with Darwin. I wouldn't be shocked if I haven't seen how he's played in the last few weeks, Jürgen decides that Jota now becomes a de facto centre forward. We see less of Jota on the left, and it's a rotation of Nunez and Diaz. I think being up front, back to goal, I don't think that's Darwin's game, because I do. But I'm not sure it is. I think
that the thing is though, I think that comes.
Yeah, exactly. But
was it Ajax where he was brilliant at that? Like he's usually, people mention how he's not really good at passing, how his first touch is not that good, and his first touch hasn't been brilliant. But I think that Ajax game away from home, that was like a diamond.
That was a diamond. I think with a partner, I would agree. I don't think Darwin in the middle of a 3.
You're right. I don't think we can say unequivocally in a front 3 that he's the answer in the 9 just yet. But again, he's now. You could put him back in there in the next game, whenever, and he might just be better at it now. Because he's just far more.
Mate, he's caused Man City problems. We come back to play Man City. Whether he's involved, we'll find out. Obviously, with his Uruguay connections, and according to Paul's predictions,
not according to me, but find out more on the World Cup preview show.
But I like him on the left because you get the best of his pace. Yeah. He is so quick, and I think the balance helps Robertson because he goes away from the ball. So his first instinct, and you're right, is that. I think when you play number 9 for Liverpool, your first instinct is got to be to show for the ball. I think he wants to be on the shoulder. I think he knows my best attribute is I'm quick and no one's catching me. We saw, again, Southampton, we saw that Spurs. It was the first time I've been that close to the action of watching him. I haven't been to that many games this season. I've been often in here when I went to Spurs, and obviously first half he was on that left wing, and it's frightening how quick he is. He is. I think it's deceptive on TV. You don't quite get it. His stride length is absurd. He's like a racehorse. He just eats it up. And I think, again, whether it's by design or by accident, I think Liverpool might have stumbled upon something here where if it's Jota and Firmino who rotate in as your front 2, if it's Diaz and Nunez as your left, and then it's always going to be Mohamed Salah over there.
I don't see a starting 11 where you don't have Lucho and Nunez starting.
But again, I think we're a bit too wedded to this idea of that's the team and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We're going to be playing 2 games a week.
Yeah.
Where we've been crippled this last 2 weeks or 3 weeks is no rotation in the attack.
And Diaz can go right as well. By the way, Diaz can play right if Mo doesn't need it. At some point, Mo might. He's a freak, Mo Salah. We know this, but he can't play every game.
But the other thing that makes me feel positive is when he has played, up front, which I think he did for the West Ham game when he scores that brilliant header. I've seen signs of him being able to do that position, and we've been crap. So imagine when we're actually really good and he's in the correct areas. I don't care how you do in the rest of the game, but if you pass the ball to him in the box and he's finishing it, that's all I care about.
I also think, Paul, Chris makes this point a lot and we always forget about it. We rave about how good Jurgen Klopp is and how good our coaching setup is. They will make players better. That Darwin Nunez now isn't Darwin Nunez in 6 months or a year. Look at Darwin Nunez on day one of that friendly game compared to Darwin. It's night and day. Jurgen's track record of making young players better is just there for everyone to see. Yeah. And I think it's credit to them as well. He looks much more comfortable. I think I saw... Was it James Pearce who wrote he's starting to feel more comfortable, he's learning the language a bit more?
Well, him and he had a sit down with Jürgen and Pep, didn't he, apparently, and they kind of said, just relax, don't worry about what anyone's thinking, our opinion's the only one that matters, and go from there. And he seems to be taking it in his stride. The reference me and Chris made the other week was, look at Konate. So when we brought Konate in, it's easy to forget, those early games, he was really erratic. He had all the raw attributes, but he was stepping out too much. He was a bit... When I say Lovren, you know what I mean by that. Too aggressive. I've got to be the guy who goes and does this at all times. And in those early games, he got caught out of position and he left space in behind, and he made us vulnerable because he didn't know how to hone the aggression. Finishes the season as our best player in the Champions League final. And that's a year of playing under us. I can't even begin to imagine how good Nunez would be, because like I say, the fact that there are still people who are actively voicing their concern over him, and yet right now he's a 1 in 2 goal scorer. If you take it a bit deeper than that, and because we do, we measure this a bit more like this when you play Liverpool's front three, 12 goal contributions in 971 minutes of football for us, which is a goal contribution every 81 minutes, slightly less than, which means every time he takes the pitch, on average, he's either scoring or setting up a goal. That is the entry requirements for our front three. That's Sadio Mane, Mo Salah, and even I'm close to 17, 18 Bobby Firmino levels.
Jota when he first arrived.
Exactly. And Jota, and in fact Jota pretty much since he's played for us. That's absolutely amazing.
Listen, if you'd have said, your new signing's going to get 20 goals a season, your new striker, he's on pace for that.
Oh, I think he's getting 25
plus. He might, and that's fine. It's really good. Again, it's mad, I'm going to do it now and I'm guilty, so I do apologise to everyone who's listening, but it is the Haaland thing. It just is. The fact that he arrived in the same summer as Erling Haaland arrived at Manchester City for theoretically less money, make of that what you will, but you know what I mean, in terms of a transfer fee alone, less money, paid for by
it's fine, don't get into it.
No, totally legitimate means, of course. Then that's the thing, is that you're being compared to what you just cannot live up to. You just can't. It's impossible. That man's a freak. He just is. Yeah. But Nunez, he's having an impact, similar impact to Jota. More goals and assists, I think, than Diaz had when he first arrived. Definitely. The impact is it's there for everyone to see. It's just he goes about it in such a unique, odd way. The fact that he got sent off for nutting somebody, could have got sent off again by whacking someone on the back of the head. He has got a bit about him as well. So I think that
I said he's doing the kind of stuff that we asked Divock to do at times when he was our fourth player for that front three, obviously particularly usurping Daniel Sturridge in the back end of the Champions League winning season. So we started to use him in bits and pieces, and in the season that followed as well. And he's got similar sort of attributes. They're both tall, both very fast, both got good, decent control, decent skill. They're good in the air, but Darwin's better at all those things than Divock, and he's so much more focused, he's so much more aggressive. He just wants to kill you. You know what I mean? He's up against defenders and he wants to beat them. It's like, and I said this the other day, Suarez had that. He's not as good as Luis Suarez, He might go on to be more or better, we don't know, but Suarez had that thing of, he picked the ball up and there'd be a man or two men between him and the goal, and they were just like combatants who were stopping him from doing his duty. You know, the thing that he was born to do was to get past them and put the ball in the back of the net, and he saw every single duel as a personal affront that he needed to battle through. And you know, Darwin's got that. Diaz has got that as well. Do
you think it might be a South American like thing without being too like?
Well, no, I don't know if it's. I think it's a Scouts thing as well. You know,
it was against the world kind of. Yeah.
I think. I mean, look, you see it all through football. The more privileged the background you come from is, the less you've got to fight. So you know, the less practiced you are at doing it. You know what I mean? And you see it a lot more. You're right. There's been there's certain countries where people still live more impoverished lives. You know, people living in middle-class areas of cities don't tend to make it as professional footballers compared to kids who come from working-class areas of the city. So I wouldn't say it was exclusively a South American thing, but there's definitely, because again you see it, and you see African players have got a similar thing. You see it from certain deprived areas of Europe and all that kind of stuff. It depends ultimately on, and look, kids are born a certain way. I look at like the difference between my daughter and my son. Son just floats through life having a great time, and my daughter is like just laser focused on winning at all costs on whatever. So some people have just got it, but I think more importantly, I think our transfer strategy targets that. I don't know what the metric is, but if it was like street fighting out of 20, you know, it's like if it was Football Manager, you bring an attributes in from Street Fighter 2 to find your ideal.
It's a meme, isn't it, with the dog in the chest? Like he's got the dog. It's that meme, isn't it? Yeah. I think when they do the medical, they actually got dog in the chest. Like it is like what I love about him, and you've got what Suarez. He touched on a bit. It's like Luis Suarez scored. He thought he could score from anywhere. Yeah. We would clear from a corner, and he'd be on the edge of our box. He's thinking, "How can I am going to run and score from here." And listen, sometimes, I mean, there's a famous example in the derby when he did it. He scored from his own half, and he just always thought he was going to score. Darwin's got that about him. What I love, and I saw this first hand at Tottenham, because again it was right in front of me. So I'm speaking from personal experience here. Is that when he missed chances very early on in his Liverpool career, it really bothered him. Yeah. I don't want to go too much. I'm like, I referenced a tweet after the couple of friendlies and people having a go at him, and he does the shush resilience thing, and he's giving it the ears when, you know, whatever. The other day against Tottenham, he goes through, he hits the bar, misses, he turns around and he's in, and he's just ready to go again. It doesn't look like the misses bother him as much. Mo Salah's really good at that as well. You just shrug it off and go again.
Smiles.
Harry Kane's excellent. I've missed that. Well, I'll get the next one. That was my major worry. I had no massive issues with Darwin when he first came in. I thought it's a work in progress, but I was worried about his mentality, because I thought, you're going to play front for Liverpool, you're going to miss chances because you're going to get fucking loads of chances. Yeah. Like, people say now, Sadio was wasteful and Mo Salah can be wasteful, and kind of right. It's just that they get loads of it. Darwin's going to learn to miss. Yeah. And I think that's what I saw the other day. I think whether it's Jurgen and Pep, Liverpool got the sports psychology team, it looks like someone's been in his ear and just said, like you said, just calm it down. Our team are that good, and you're that good. You are going to get chances to score, mate.
Yeah.
I think there's something about players that I like. When he got his red card, I was fuming at him, because I knew he was going to be so crucial to us, because we were struggling. We were in real struggle.
We had to rush Bobby Firmino back in to play United.
Exactly.
And stuff. Fit Roberto Firmino.
But I actually like that he's got that in him. I like the anger. I like the fight. I like a bit of a shithouse. I'm going to be dead honest. And he's got that. If you
have to, it's more. I think it's more work to put aggression into someone than to curb it in someone who's already got it. So, like, and we mentioned Emil Heskey before, we always used to joke that if he just had the same aggression level as Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, who was a similar style footballer, similar build, powerful, not dead tall, but really, really strong, really pacey, smacked the ball into the back of the net. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank always felt like he was going into a fight in a football game. Emil felt like you needed to G him up, and when he hit a hot streak, like he went on that incredible goal scoring run, at the end of the treble winning season, and it comes into the next one. You've got like the 5-1 England-Germany in that time. You've got the Super Cup and all that. Sorry, Chloe, I know you were a twinkle in your mother's eye at this point. But it was, he brought hot and cold. You needed to G him up, whereas footballers who are automatically G'd up, and then sometimes you just need to.
Wayne Rooney, the example of that.
Exactly. Steven Gerrard was like that in his early days as well.
It's easier to. for someone to mature and calm down and trying to, feel like if you want to slap him in the face a couple of times.
But when this is a bit of our issue with our squad, and I say, go back to our transfer policy. I said this a couple of places. We've signed loads of angry fighters. We signed guys who've got a real deep aggression and a point to prove. But I mean, like the newer signings. Yeah. Look, Thiago hates losing. You can see it in like how many sliders he puts out, how physical he is, despite the fact that he's like an absolute gem of a footballer. Kanate's got that as well.
Jota's a bit of a shithouse.
Jota is a massive shithouse. That's the fans. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, it's yeah.
But Jota's all right leaving a little toe in or leaving a little boot in.
Little dirty shit. But when if you have to do that eventually, if you have to G yourself up, eventually you reach a point and you do think, I can't do it today. Whereas. So when it's not your day, you've got no aggression, you have a bad game. The other ones, you get too aggressive and maybe you go a bit too far. I don't know if the net result is better one way or the other, but the general feeling is you have more fun with guys who want to go on the pitch and fight for your cause.
If you could be a little less like Luis Suarez in terms of, biting people, that'd be great, because I think Luis Suarez took it a little bit far, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yes. I mean, yes.
I'd really like him to be available for more. Don't get 8-game bans, please.
So I think Darwin could have been sent off. Is it Napoli when he just whacked that lad back at the head?
He punches him in the spine and punches him in the chest. It was a bit like someone that he hasn't learned to calm himself down. He's just learned where the cameras are. He's learned where the hard camera is in wrestling. How to hide certain moves from the referee. I think it's really good. So just to move things on from the weekend, because again. I said this, that should have been the template. That's how we should have played Fulham. That's how we should have played Forest. That's how we should have played Leeds. We should have 9 more points. Well, no, not 9 more. 7 more points. 7 more points.
And Palace put 2 more on.
Yes, absolutely. There you go. We should have loads more. They're all teams that we should have been winning in that kind of fashion. But good to see. Good to prove we can do it before we hit the break. So it's one less question to sort of ask. The weirdest thing that's going to be happening in the coming weeks, apart from the fact that it's a Winter World Cup and that's the universe we're in right now, this from all the major Northwest journos, and obviously Liverpool have promoted it as well. Ian Doyle, I've got this from now. Liverpool will take part in the Dubai Super Cup during their training camp in the World Cup break. They will take on Lyon on December 11th and AC Milan on December 16th, both at the AI Maktoum Stadium.
It's got to be Al. Surely it's Al.
Or the Al Maktoum, yeah. Cool. Arsenal are also in the 14 tournament, but the 2 Premier League teams won't face each other. It gets better. Teams are awarded 3 points for the win, 2 for a draw. Also, after every game, there is a penalty shootout, no matter what the score in the game.
That's great for the Redmen watch-alongs. That's going to keep the viewers at the end. You know what I mean? When people are getting 5 minutes to go over friendly and the numbers start dropping, whoa. Hang around for the pens, folks. Yeah. The boxes off there if the Dubai Super Cup, whatever it's called.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought you had.
Oh
Is there more?
Shush.
Yeah, there's a penalty shootout. No matter what, you get a bonus point for winning your penalty shootout as well.
Just get Keith Keller in every game. He's going to be playing every game. Well, we're winning this. We're the favourites. These rack the bonus points up.
There's your 2 extra bonus points in the bag, guaranteed for
Keith got a sorted. Yeah, there's another one. A little Hendo. I mean, it won't be Endo, is it? Who's going to be our captain for that?
Millie.
The Millie Shuffle. That sounds like it could have been like a 90s dance move.
The
Millie Shuffle, doesn't
it? Sounds
it?
like a 90s dance move, yeah. Definitely in fluorescent gear of some description. Either too tight or too baggy, or both.
Both, yeah.
Combination of both, yeah.
The Millie Shuffle.
The 90s was a good time.
I feel like you should recreate it for me, so
I reckon Chris would be well up for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mr. Sunday Night.
Mr. Sunday Night. Chris was dancing on the bar with Chloe's mum at the weekend.
Yeah.
We're going to be, if you want to know more about that, or if you were there and you want to have a little bit of a chat about it, the podcast extra, we're going to be talking through some of the wilder moments of the night and taking some viewer questions as well. Podcast extra will follow this.
I can see where you get your enthusiastic personality from.
Really?
Yeah, your mum's lovely.
It's your dad. Your dad just sat there being very, very pleasant, but very quiet.
Our fella sat there knowing, his wife was dancing on the stage, and he was used to it. Like that was a semi-regular.
My dad, I had to tell my dad was by the bar, and he looked up and was like, "Wait there,
that's my wife.
That's my wife." Oh God.
On the Dubai Super Cup,
Wait, so
We will do more on
Pauline
this.
took centre stage. Sorry about that.
More on this on Podcast Extra this week. How do we feel about it, Steve?
yeah, it sounds whatever. Can I go to Dubai?
Yeah, no, can I go with him?
That's my first question. Who's going? I feel like the boss is
I
pulling
feel like
rank.
you're going to say
yeah,
you.
I think Paige.
Could you take me in your backpack or something?
Any sponsors out there want to
yeah.
pay for us to go to Dubai? Yeah, come and get
I'll
involved.
wear your clothing brand if you really want that. Just give me a hoodie though.
In Dubai?
Oh, no,
I think
actually, don't do that.
You might be misrepresenting it, but yeah.
In the air conditioning, you'd be laughing.
Yeah.
It was always, they were always, we knew they were going, it makes sense for them to keep ticking over. Yes, and I actually like the little wrinkle of the penalties, actually. It's just something different, something new, because the friendlies are shite, basically. So yeah, just a little bit of a little extra at the end. I'm all for that. Yeah. And like I say, this isn't a getting players fit, this is a keeping players fit. So I think it might be a little bit of a better standard. And obviously, there's quite a lot of good players that we haven't taken anyway, so that week sound like the Arsenal team could be a bit weak, and I haven't really looked into the AC Milan Lyon stuff, but it'd be good. And like I say, 2 decent level sides as well. I think it'd be a nice little competition, and more for us, the kick-off times are really favourable.
Yeah,
like middle of the afternoon for everybody. That's nice.
Yeah, we'll have more on that, obviously, in and around.
When Paul goes to Dubai, I'll be hosting the podcast that week, folks. Just pencil it in now. So
I'm just waiting on. I'm waiting on my invite from our new Dubai owners to get me my privileged access, which is obviously.
If they could do 2, then I can be the plus
then
one.
Paige, I can be that, so you fuck there. We need 7.
Hopefully Chris won't want to go.
Yeah, whoever that
He's got kids, got to look after the kids. Come on.
It's Chris's birthday though, so he can't go.
Yes.
What about like kids nativities and all that? You've got to factor all this in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have to tag out. Might have to be someone goes for the start and someone goes. They're there from the 4th. Yeah. But also they're there for like 12 days.
But that's an interesting thing. They're getting a couple of weeks off now just to have a break and recharge.
It's actually a longer break than I thought they were going to get. So like they've gone away. I think it's today they finished now pretty much, and then they fly out to Dubai on December 4th. So they're getting that's like 3 weeks in. They're getting a really good rest. So I imagine half of them will be already in Dubai. They might just I'll meet you there. I'll make my own way, see you in a bit. But yeah, listen, that's perfect, isn't it? Mohamed Salah can go and sit himself on a beach for a little bit or whatever and get himself fully rested, and we've got like Diaz,
Robertson,
all these, everyone who's carrying little niggly injuries. I think
Mohamed Salah is going to be frightening in the back half of this season, by the way.
I agree.
Hopefully.
Usually he's been flogged to death with an AFCON or like a million games over Christmas. He's having a break now. I think January could be where Mo Salah just explodes again. He's going to be ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, I think of all the big teams looking at it, I think we're the main beneficiaries. I know we talked about this on the World Cup show as well, but like we're the main beneficiaries, I think, of this World Cup, because we've got loads of injured lads who, touch wood, they should all be back.
All closer.
And our big guns are getting big guns are getting a rest.
Yeah, it's if you want to go deeper on that and who will and won't be going to the World Cup for Liverpool, and a closer look at our rivals and what the World Cup
and to see me in a rather ill-fitting Brazil shirt.
No, I felt it fit quite well.
It felt a little bit snug.
Really?
Just a touch around the pecs.
I mean, not as snug as the Netherlands one that you tried on beforehand.
That didn't get over my head.
That was great. I got to basically see the entire outline. You know when those like cosplayers do like the latex spray on stuff. That's what Steve looked like in the Holland shirt.
It was the blue one off X-Men. What's her name? It just stuck to me. I was like, fuck it, I'll go with that.
Steve Mystique Hawk there with his Netherlands shirt on. So we've got the World Cup preview. We've got the mid-season review as well on Redmen Plus. So we've got plenty of stuff wrapping up what we've seen so far, and then looking ahead to the World Cup, and then throughout the World Cup period we're going to have transfer specials. Journo Insight's going to be going. We're going to have expert insight. We've got our My Liverpool debut documentary series dropping very soon as well. So yeah, loads of stuff to keep you guys going. Right, should we crack on with Who Knows Wins?
Yeah.
This week,
I won money last week, Paul.
Apparently so. So the joint winners taking £3,000 each, not you. 9 out of 10 each were Jay Sadler and Di Waddell.
Di's a prolific Who Knows Wins player.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve was also a big winner, taking home £5.54, coming tied 74th with 6 out of 10. Well done, Steve Hall.
Get on me.
There was one winner on the Liverpool versus Southampton, got 9 out of 9. Well done to Jean, who took £500. No leagues involving Liverpool this week, of course, but the 10k Pick 10 League is live now on the site, with some there's other English football being played. Does this answer the question? Because someone asked me this: are the other leagues still playing? Are that
Championship isn't it?
Yeah, it's 1 and 2.
So 1 and 2 are carrying on. Okay, cool. Right, so we can get up this week's picks. Have you picked them already, Steve?
Well, actually, this is Chris's picks.
Wow.
Because I thought while he's not here, I'll explain for him. Chris's reasoning for this is I've been crap at it anyway, so I've just gone with my guts this time. When he's tried to go logical, he's lost, so he thought might as well just go with the one in the fancy. So yeah, got Barnsley, he's got Barnsley to be Milton Keynes, Peter to be Bristol, Oxford to be Forest Green, Burton to be Plymouth, Wickham to be Cheltenham, Sheffield Wednesday to be Shrewsbury, Cambridge over Accrington. I'd always gone for a draw in Lincoln Walk. I think that's a good pick. Well done, Chris. Bolton, Port Vale as well to win. So yeah, he's
I have largely gone with my historical memory of teams in and around the Premier League, or who teams Liverpool have played in pre-season friendlies. So Morecambe and Fleetwood both got. I think I might have had both of them in positive results.
My son has got the wall chart on his wall, and it's got fucking. That takes ages, mate.
I don't know what you were letting yourself in for there.
Premier League, Championship League 1, League 2, SPL and the Women's Super League. After every weekend, we're changing about 100 things. But the good news is I've got a rough idea who's good in these leagues now.
Okay.
Like I know,
wow, yeah.
I know Forest Green are bottom. I know they're bottom.
Oh, okay.
So where Chris has got them to lose, I'm with him. Because I know they're bottom of that table. So it's served me well.
Okay.
Would you like to know how I choose?
Would your first win of
second,
the season?
Second win.
Okay.
I won 2 weeks ago as well. Yeah, I'm on a roll. I fancy myself in the World Cup stuff as well. So there's loads of World Cup specials going on.
Yeah,
I do fancy myself in some of them.
Just to clarify, there's going to be game day specials every day on Who Knows Wins as well. So make sure you go to redmen.whoknowswins.com, or if you're on YouTube, you can scan the QR code and it takes you straight through there. You can get the app, but again, if you go through the website through your browser, redmen.whoknowswins, obviously KNOW for no. That makes us look really good, so that'd be much appreciated. So you can play throughout the World Cup.
You know what I'd do? I'd just go with who's got the nicest kit. That's what I tend to do. Like UFC,
like when you're picking your Grand Nationals.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that's what I'd do on teams that I wouldn't really have a clue.
That's a lot of research. You'd be googling a lot of kits though. That's like 20 odd kits you've got to find.
No,
but listen, it could save you.
You'd be quicker to just Google the league tables, wouldn't it? In hindsight.
Or if you buy yourself the wall chart that my son's got.
I'm alright, it looks like you've had some horrible time.
No, I love it. I love doing it. I think it's boss, and he loves.
Tries to tell your face and tone of voice when you're
talking. Oh no, I love it. He loves it, and he loves Stevenage because it's got my name in it. He doesn't like Hull.
Steve.
He doesn't like Hull because it sounds like dull. He's got like favourite ones. He loves Hearts. In Scotland, he loves Hearts because Hearts are nice. So you find a lot. You find a lot about like
my logic.
Yeah. No, listen. Let's do it with this. You find a lot of 8-year-old logic out like getting them the wall chart. He loves Burnley. I told him today Burnley are top of the Championship, and he literally said, "Woohoo, get in Burnley." And it turns out,
big Vincent Kompany fan.
No, apparently once I was watching Burnley and started laughing at Ashley Barnes being an absolute shithouse and thought it was dead funny, and then since then he thinks now like that's how footy should be played. So
you have to be careful how you talk about football teams around your kids, because I had to wean my son off Barcelona because we got him a Barcelona kit when he was dead young, as you do, as is the way in Liverpool, where Real Madrid and Barcelona kits are like PSG is a newer one. But yeah, I was trying to remind him that we don't really like Barcelona. They have a habit of stealing our best players.
You also can't. My obviously niece, she always comes in, she talks about a mate, and I'm like, what team do they support? And she'll say like Everton, and I'll say, oh nah, I hate them. And you can't say that.
Nope.
Because then they basically hate that person.
That's why there's a generation of Evertonians who genuinely think they hate Liverpool fans because they've been taught that without realising that words have actual meanings. By
saying that you hate that club, the kid thinks that you should also hate the person. So you've got to be like, no, we dislike them.
I just say Everton stink. So they think that it's people who spot Everton smell.
And it's factual. I might do a little video actually for one of the Weathers Plus or something. I might just go through Lucas's logic of all these teams. It fascinates me.
Yeah.
There's a YouTuber called Preston. So Lucas loves Preston.
Oh, does he do Minecraft by any chance?
Yeah. So he's a big
fan. I subscribed.
Apparently so.
You're in that age bracket.
Yeah. So
I just feel like I've heard his name. Very popular.
Exactly. So things like that. I'll definitely do something because I love it so much.
Sound.
And it might help me win who knows wins. I should in theory have an advantage on you this week.
Yeah. But yeah. You won't.
Yeah.
We'll see. Right, okay, let's have a little chat through the season then so far outside of Liverpool. City's really interesting to me, Chloe, because I think we carry this idea of like City being this unkillable beast, and adding Erling Haaland has just added an extra unkillable string to their bow, a big broadsword that swipes aside all asunder. But they've lost a couple of games now, and they're not quite as invulnerable as I think everyone's kind of thought. I still wouldn't be betting against them winning the league. I still wouldn't be betting against them putting down a run when we return from the World Cup. But, I mean, it would be typical Liverpool for Arsenal to win the league on like 84 points this season when City don't get their act together. And, yeah, we'll have missed out on that opportunity. But anyway, City... They're still good, but not as good as we thought.
Well, I thought at the beginning of the season, they had to come from behind quite a couple of times. I think even Newcastle was one of them. I thought they looked more vulnerable defensively than they ever have, to be honest. And I think they've drawn to Newcastle. They've obviously lost to Brentford and lost to Liverpool. You can lose to Liverpool. That happens. The Brentford one's a bit mad, and losing it in the way that they did is absolutely brilliant. The thing is, though, it's 5 points, and I just believe they've got 2 games, and they've got 2 games to play against Arsenal. Well, there's your 6 points back. I'm fascinated with the fact that I thought they'd be out of sight, out of mind for Liverpool Football Club, and at the moment, I think they need a couple more wins before they get there.
As it stands, they're on course for about 86 points. I'm with you. It's more like fuck. If I go to the other side. What's interesting, I might be wrong. This might just on the stats might completely prove me wrong here, but I always feel Man City are a second half of the season team. I feel they really kick into gear January and
COVID season. They got again because they went so deep in the Champions League. They started slow, didn't they? And we thought we'd burnt them off. And then obviously Liverpool absolutely catastrophically fucked them.
And even there's times when obviously you're the famous one when the first close season when they beat the right point, we were above them for all. Like they usually go on a massive run after Christmas, but the World Cup's such a huge factor in this. Like there's so many more games to play after it, and again they've got only Bayern have got more players at the World Cup than Man City, and lots of Man City players play for teams who you'd expect to be quarter, semi-finalists, finalists. So it's going to be fascinating really how it goes. Listen, they're the odds-on favourite for me still. I know Arsenal have got that 5-point gap, and Arsenal's points record at the moment is really good. 37 from 14. You take that every single time. But I would still back City, but we've got no historical data for this season. You're relying on this is guesswork because we've never had this before. This is completely brand new. You know,
another completely brand new type of season.
We keep going through these, and you know, it was funny. We were speaking to Dan yesterday. He was like, Dan put a finger out on Twitter. It was like, you know, how do you feel Liverpool? You know, at the midway point. And I was like, it actually isn't the midway point. It's not even close. It's like there's 5 games till the mid. You know, it's miles away. We're not even at the middle yet. And now we're having this break. So to come back and what everyone's got like 23, 24, 25 league games post Christmas Day. But that's mad. In theory, it should suit City in terms of the squad size, but I just wonder how much the World Cup's going to take out of them.
You know what else? I'm not worried for City because that'd be weird, but they're January. Like I know Arsenal have a couple of games in there, which is a little bit hard, but City's January. I think they've got Arsenal, Man United away from home, back to back. They've also got Spurs early February. They've got Everton, which should obviously be easy, but you know they might get their act together for one game.
They come back to so Leeds away is the first game back after the Premier League, and then they go Everton. They'll beat Everton, obviously. Chelsea, United. They'll beat Wolves, then Tottenham. Yeah, they've got they've still got games to play against everyone else. I wouldn't be shocked actually if
so Villa under Unai Emery with a bit of time to actually work with his players going to the Etihad is not the rollover that it might have been previously. Gerrard gave him a bloody nose last season.
Oh, brilliant! Thanks, nice one for that reminder. No, I just think Arsenal...
They're not going away, are they?
I'd still rather be City, because I believe they could come back. But Arsenal, the 5 points ahead now. If City drop any points in that January, and somehow Arsenal have done better than what Liverpool have ever done at capitalising when City have not done well. They've capitalised this season. Liverpool arguably didn't do that, otherwise we would have won the league. You know what? If you see that drift to 7, maybe even 10, some of those games coming back, and they've got 16 players at the World Cup, you just never know. Arsenal might do something there.
It's interesting, we talked about the fixtures there. So Arsenal come back to West Ham at home on Boxing Day, Brighton away, Newcastle home game is going to be really interesting in that.
And then Spurs.
And then obviously, and then Spurs, then Man United, then
Everton.
I mean, Frank should probably be gone by then, so that might be different.
Can I very quickly? Who do you think the Everton manager will be on February the 4th?
Duncan Ferguson.
Wayne Rooney is the answer.
No, I was going to say
Wayne Rooney's Everton beat Arsenal in the first game, and that's his first game in charge, and everyone's going back to that clip of "Remember the name," and now he's the manager. It's written, is it? And then they get beat 4-0. To the point on Arsenal, that's not there's no favourable run of fixtures anymore, is there? Because as we've seen, there's a bunch of random teams you can just rock up and start swinging digs. And as much as we're talking about teams having favourable amounts of players at the World Cup, once you get outside that clutch of the 5 or 6 top teams, the numbers dwindle significantly. You know, so it is going to be a break. And I guess what you want really is, and this might play into the favours, having a West Ham is not necessarily the worst idea of how cold a West Ham coming back into it. If you've got a bunch of teams who've had a bit too much time off, that could work into your favour. I would say, and I think it was one of the Neville, and I think it was Gary Neville saying it the other week, but until you see Arsenal prove they can do it, you'd be a bit mad to throw all in on Arsenal. But we've seen it. City don't chase as well as they lead. And because they've led more and they've dealt with it more times, Arsenal haven't had that pressure yet of a team like Man City breathing down your neck, and they're running and they're chasing and they're not stopping, and you're starting to get tired, and they start beating teams or continue to beat teams 4-0, and you're scraping one goal.
The Fulham game where they win it in the last minute with a crap penalty that I don't think is really that much of a pen.
They break your life, don't they, Man City? Yeah. I tweeted after that Fulham game, I was like, I'm so glad I don't really have to be arsed this. We're getting to a point now actually where I might end up having to be arsed about them again. Yeah. But like it's exhausting.
If they could wipe each other out a little bit and Liverpool somehow regain a bit of form, I'd
sneak up on the rails.
Love that.
Well, honestly, that's Liverpool's mission. Is I think we are off everyone's radar, and that's going to be interesting to see if they can reboot that. If we don't win like the first 3 games back, I don't think it'll matter. Yeah. But I'm reasonably happy in my belief that if we played those 5 extra games before Christmas, I think we'd have been in the top 4 by the end of them, because I just feel like we're getting to there, we're getting players back, everyone's getting more settled and more established. I think we'd have been a little bit better off. But you look at the league table, and look at Man United in particular. Man United are 4 points ahead of us, and it was a shame that they managed to turn that Fulham game around, because that would have been a real high to end the weekend on. They've got a 0 goal difference. And they're going to get better as the season goes on, because they're going to get rid of Ronaldo, we'll talk about in a second, and Ten Hag's going to get more time to give him better what he's doing.
If I was Ten Hag, I would literally not terminate Ronaldo's contract. I'd keep him there and I'd make him play with the unders. I wouldn't put him anywhere near the first team. I'd be bitter as hell.
Yeah, he won't. What he should do is he should now be the guy literally who drives Ronaldo to his next club. You know what I mean? And make a big deal about how I'm getting in a wheelbarrow. You know what I mean? Like just drop him off outside Sporting Lisbon or whatever. Like, you mean, there you go, have him back.
I don't think they want him.
No, I don't think anyone wants him. No one he wants to go to particularly wants him. Although they must be, because
it's fucking Cristiano Ronaldo. He'll get a club.
No, God, he's not going to not get a club. But it's like, is he going to get a club? Is he going to get a Champions League club? Because that's what he wants. He wants to add a couple more goals to his Champions League record before he moves on.
We've said this before. The right thing to is just Paris Saint-Germain should just do it. just so we can get Messi and Ronaldo in the same team for like half a season at least.
Absolutely.
But they won't.
Do the
I
honourable
think
thing.
Messi wants to go, to be honest.
Yeah, well, he's going to America, isn't he? But again, in terms of what we can sort of divine from it so far, and on the City point, and why I think it's really encouraging, they've drawn 2 and lost 2 so far. So there's 4 games where they've not taken maximum points. I mean, Arsenal have only drawn 1 and lost 1 for comparison. And I would contend again. If Diaz doesn't get injured, I reckon we give Arsenal a much better game at the Emirates. But whatever. They've got the best goal difference in the league is Man City. They've got plus 26. They've only got the second best defensive record, but it's the goals. They've scored 40 goals. They've got 7 more goals than Arsenal. They've scored 11 more goals than Newcastle. They've scored 9 more than Tottenham Hotspur.
20 more than Man United.
Yeah, 12 more than us. But they're second in the league, and this was always the point on Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland is going to be a goal machine. He's probably going to score 40 goals this season. It's certainly in all comps. Whether he gets in the league is another matter, but it's possible. You can't win more points than Man City have won. You're not going to get more. It's so hard to get more than 98 points or 100 points in a season. They've done that without a guy who scored 40 goals a season in Erling Haaland. What we're seeing is they're actually just not as good an all-round outfit. I was speaking to Big Steve a few weeks ago when I was doing the Man City preview with him, and he was like, and not Man City fans have admitted this, by the way, but he's like, the quality of football's been crap. We've not played anywhere near as well this season because they've gone for this season of total football where you've got 6 lads effectively who can play anywhere and in their attacking positions, they can crop up anywhere, score goals from anywhere, and yet they didn't have that elite killer in front of goal, but didn't matter because they still walked it, and now they have got that, and we've seen that. When you buy that lad who is your outball, and he's your easy outball because odds are he'll do something with it, if you become very reliant on one player, that you undercut your overall team ethic. Liverpool had it with Owen, they had it with Torres,
fucking Peter Crouch.
We had it with Peter Crouch. Yes.
He was the easy option.
Jamie Carragher,
just a web at Peter Crouch's chest all game. I'm with you. I think. Listen, again, I've mentioned before, I still think they win the league because again, you're right. Until I see Arsenal do it, but I've spoke to a few people. And it's like, well, Arsenal will fade away, and I'm just not so sure they'll fade away. I think they might end up they're going to end up in a close title race that you just back Man City to win. But I think Arsenal are legit. If again, we'll come back to World Cup, and we'll come back to loads of games because their squad isn't great.
No, exactly.
Arsenal's got a very good 11 and a couple of subs. They haven't got too much below that. And I think you're right to reference, Paul. It's hard being in a title race. It's very rare you win your first one. Leicester are an outlier, but it's very rare you win it. You know, it's usually you have to be in one and live with it and then know how to deal with it. Like, what does Mikel Arteta know, really? I know he's been Man City's assistant manager in a few of them, but like, what do any of those Arsenal players know? What does Saliba and Aaron Ramsdale and Ben White and Martinelli, what do they know? It's only really Gabby Jesus who's got his head screwed on, who knows what this shit's about. Yeah. That could be crucial. I
remember on the fan cam, I asked, a lad came down and he was an Arsenal supporter, and me just casually said, you know, do you think you're going to win it? He thought I was trying to clip him. I was trying to get some sort of... No, I was just genuinely asking because you're 5 points ahead of Manchester City, which... And you know, Manchester City, they can have moments where they can drop points.
Oh, but they shit the bed low.
Exactly. Yeah. But, and also, if they do get a couple of injuries here and there, they're in trouble as well. But they were so obsessed with thinking that I was trying to clip them and get something from it that I was just like, lad, it's sound to believe in your football team. Like, I still believe Liverpool. There's somewhere deep inside me that believes Liverpool can come from nowhere. Does my head think it? No, but my heart will not let it go until it's mathematically over. It is sound to feel that way.
Yeah.
We're all forgetting the elephant in the room, by the way, is that Newcastle in January might just go and buy Kylian Mbappe. You know,
but I said this the other week, cool, I can't wait to see them try and do that because Newcastle have been here before, not quite at this level, certainly not with the financial backing, but if you remember, they came up under Pardew, and they had Pardew, and they had a brilliant season, and they had like Papa Cisse and Demba Ba and Johan Cabaye in midfield. They had a really good team that year, but the problem is that their problem at the time was, how do you then improve upon that? And they really struggled to buy better than what they've got. Newcastle have got a similar problem, but coming at it from a different angle now, is that when you start, what you bring a lad in, and the example I used was Dan Burn, who is, you know, he's having a really good season. He's obviously a good centre half, but I'm not sure he's in the elite category of centre halves. So you'd look at that and go, okay, well, let's go and buy, because they bought Botman, haven't they? So they've obviously started that redevelopment of the back four. They'll bring in another centre half. Well, Dan Burns actually a big character, and he's a big part of that dressing room. All of a sudden, he's been a part of the team that built you there, and he's out on his ear for half a season. There'll be some players who will adapt to it, and some people who will take their squad role, and it's how the seed of disharmony is sown there, and all of a sudden you're buying egos as well. I mean, the Kylian Mbappe talk, you know, when that broke a couple of weeks ago, and David Ornstein was talking about it, and you know, it was like, well, it's possible that he could come to Liverpool, and I was like, oh, cool, yeah, go ahead, I wouldn't mind Mbappe, and everyone went, he's a huge bellend, and I'm like, I hadn't really thought about him. I hadn't really paid much attention, other than I know he's one of the top players in the world. I haven't really paid attention to how he's conducting himself or whatever.
That video when like Messi's done Neymar hasn't done a ball to him or something,
and
he just walks.
Yeah.
Do you think like Eddie, how much say do you think Eddie Howe's got in who comes in and out of Newcastle? Because I think if Eddie Howe's got I like Eddie Howe. I think he's a really good manager. I've said this. Everton should have got him ages ago. He's an Everton fan. For fuck's sake. I can't believe some of the shite they've hired him while he's been available for them. But it depends. Like you say, it feels like I'm not sure he'd be into that. I think he's an excellent coach. You can see how well some of the footy they played the other day. I watched them against Chelsea, and they played Chelsea. I was really wanting. He played them off the park, and I just wonder, is there somebody above him saying, you know, we know why we're here for X, Y, and Z reasons. We need the big names.
They're not going to bring in 3 superstars or whatever in January, but I think the process of what you do when you sports washing, you need to you drip feed it in a bit, so you just keep people, you know, tantalised. So you get someone who makes them go, ooh, like Trippier was that kind of signing, wasn't he? You know what I mean? Obviously had a good reputation for England. Like that, yeah. You know, and Guimaraes is, you know, obviously been a brilliant signing for them. But you go and get someone who's maybe a little bit more juicy, to really whets the appetite. You don't tip your hand by going too far too soon. But they will. I think they will make a move, and it will hope it. Well, from their perspective, they'll hope that it improves them, and from our perspective, we'll hope that it does. It just upset the balance a little bit along the way. I've been extremely impressed with Newcastle, because to bridge the gap that they've bridged in one season is ridiculous.
They don't let goals in.
The best joint best defensive record with Arsenal.
The clean sheet record at the minute is outstanding. And they signed Nick Pope. That's his job. Like he was always that for Burnley. You know, the reason Burnley stayed up as long as he did for a while was because they could rely on Nick Pope keeping clean sheets.
No European football as well.
Huge.
That's a big.
And they've got less players at the World Cup than us.
Yeah,
they've only got 5. So Newcastle, I think they're gonna be right in that top 4. I'm like, someone might clip this up in April and like the 15th or whatever. But look, they don't feel like a flash in the pan. Like I always felt Brighton with all, you know, early in the season when Brighton were like second. I was like, that's not gonna last. But I've got half a feeling with Newcastle that they're going to be sticking around. It's
worrying for me, because Newcastle, I mean, obviously, without getting into the FSG stuff, we're up for sale. But Newcastle now can do whatever they want. And if they've already bridged this gap without spending and bringing in the players I expect them to now bring in, it is a little bit worrying for all of us around them.
No, and look, Jürgen Klopp called it. He was saying it all summer. Everyone was naming the top teams, going, and Newcastle, don't forget Newcastle, because you're right, it's good manager, brilliant fan base, absolutely brilliant fan base.
And loads of money.
And now added to all that, they've got a big stadium, they've got an opportunity to really grow. They're a one-team town, which is a really unique situation to kind of be in at that level.
It's why Leeds have this as well, different level, like you have the whole city just on you. Yeah, that's massive. Like, and Newcastle's mad. It's boss. I love Newcastle as a city. Yeah, I don't think they're going anywhere. Yeah.
They're return from the World Cup. They've got a friendly against Rayo Vallecano on the 17th. They got the EFL round of 16 game at home to Bournemouth on the 20th. They then are away to Leicester on Boxing Day. At home to Leeds United on New Year's Eve, and then on the 3rd they travel to Arsenal. And that's a really tricky sort of run of fixtures, because again, you'd be expected to beat Bournemouth because now they're a team in the top 4 and like trophies are going to be the kind of thing that they're having conversation. And that's the one problem with the one team town. You're actually, you get too carried away with stuff because you haven't got your neighbour telling you your shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and that, which is what you get when you're in Manchester and Liverpool and obviously London times 10. The Leicester game, because obviously Brendan Rodgers will be back, they'll have had a little bit of a rest and a reset. They've turned the corner before the break as well, which will help. That'll be a really tough test. And they're an established team as well. Newcastle have kind of come and stolen at their place almost over the last few years in the table. Leeds, again, that's a proper old school Premier League clash, freezing cold, blood and thunder. And then they go to Arsenal, and that will be a great barometer. I can't help but think, I said, those first 3 games back, you know, you're talking even between 3 and 5 games back, you know, I think maybe, like I said, let's say 15 points to play for. We'll have a much clearer idea because then you're closer to what is the natural midpoint of what the season would be, and then you get a clearer picture of who's where. At the minute, there's too many false positions in the table. There's still too many teams that who's the Blackpool? Who's the team that's just flying in the face of all expectation but is going to burn brightly but shortly? We can't know because normally by Christmas it's sorted out. Well, yeah, maybe
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Maybe Chelsea.
Yeah.
I was going to say Everton, but they're not flying anyway.
Well, let's talk Everton then.
They're crap, Paul. They are crap.
They are the worst.
So bad.
I listened to the Toffee TV boys. Because they've been all right.
They scored 11 goals, Paul. What I keep saying this, I've said this many times already. They looked at their transfer options, right, and they said, you know who we're going to buy? You know Brighton, who, if they had a striker, could be a European team. We're going to sign the striker, but not the striker who starts for them. We're going to sign the lad who's on Brighton's bench and he's going to score us our goals. Like, what are you thinking? Neil Maupay was the only... You were looking around the whole market because Dominic Calvert-Lewin's fallen to bits. His arms are hanging off and his legs hanging off because he's been ran into the ground because he has to play every game. And you've got, you know what we're going to do? We're going to spend double-digit millions on Brighton's reserve centre-forward. He's going to box us off.
They bought Dwight McNeil.
It's incredible.
And what they did, they didn't sell £50 million for Anthony Gordon. 50 million of your best English pounds. They surely could have got a striker with that money. It's baffling. The decision making at that team is crazy. It's because I actually think look at the defensive record. They've only conceded 17 goals. You're talking about
Cody and Tarvotsky.
You're talking about best defensive records in the league. You know, they've conceded fewer than United, fewer than Spurs, same as us, fewer than Brighton. All these teams above them, fewer than. Let's have a little look up. I'm just looking at me goals against. Yeah, it's mad. Yeah, and
the fact that they've conceded the same amount of goals as Chelsea, and we would all say that Chelsea are only a couple of games away from figuring it out and being a top 4 contender. You're right. Same
as us. They've conceded the same goals against us.
There's something there, you know.
Cody and Tarkowski are good.
That's the one thing that I've got from them is that they love Cody and Tarkowski, and they're actually saying Tarkowski's actually been better than Cody, and he's the one who's going the World Cup.
They made a Christmas jumper just about those two. That's how you see what they thought. Yeah. I think with Everton, it's
you can't score, Chloe. That's the problem.
No, it is the problem. But I think it was like Ped said the other day. For some, I don't know what has gone on at Everton Football Club for you to have a 6 foot, decent build, tall lad who can hold the ball up, can put it in, can edit it. Like, Everton love a bit of crossing, don't they? And instead of looking for someone who's the same build as Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because that's who you play to, they've just gone and done the complete opposite and got a 5 foot lad.
So they've been better sticking Rondon up front for 6 months.
They've tried that and that.
Yeah, but they kept him up. It just about.
But this is the problem.
They wanted more.
Yeah. Because they thought their fan base was reborn at the back end of last season. You know, they were doing the coach greetings. They went full on cop-out behaviour, which was lovely to see.
They didn't know the meaning of losing.
Imitation's the finest form of flattery, as they say. They had the spirit of the Blues. They bought into the Ric Flair woos in a huge way, and it never occurred to them. Because staying up felt like winning something, and in its own regard, it kind of was. It totally glossed over the fact that he's not a good manager. He's not a proven manager.
I think he's a brilliant manager.
Long may he reign.
Everyone keeps talking about Liverpool's. Everyone harks back to Forest and Leeds, fucking not beating Everton.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They are so bad.
They had some chances as well.
They've just lost like 7-1 on aggregate to Bournemouth over the course of like 4 days. They got their own. The fans are throwing shirts back at the players. Like they might be. And this is what happened to them last year. By the way, they stayed up because there were some garbage teams in this league, and Wolves look crap, but they've just got a new manager, so who knows how he's going to come in. You think that there'll be that Mendes is on the phone to half of Portugal trying to get them into Wolves at the minute. Southampton, new manager, and Nottingham Forest are on a semi-mini revival.
Well, Nottingham Forest, I've got money to spend. I've literally got almost like a bottomless pit of funds to spend on players.
I know they have done it.
They'll probably add more in January, and they've gone out and bought what they needed to stay up. They're a project. So like, even if they went down, they might actually keep Cooper, and he might bring them back up again, and they'll have a better go the next season. Right, Southampton have just bit the bullet and changed the managers just to provide some fresh impetus to what they're doing. Wolves have got Lopetegui, who's now, there's a chance he might be in the bracket of the best managers in the league. It's gone that's a really under the radar appointment. West Ham, I've got David Moyes, and they'll just turn around. They'll be fine in the full course of the season. I don't know about Leeds. I don't know about
goals.
Bournemouth.
That's what I will say.
Leeds got goals in them.
The Wolves, though, that's my point with Wolves. Wolves don't look like they can buy a goal anywhere. But when you actually look at their forwards, obviously Jimenez is out, but should be back. I think he got named in the World Cup squad for Mexico the other day.
He scored 8 goals in 15 games.
Yeah,
that's almost Everton not been able to score Wolves.
But when you actually think of it, they got that Guedes in, who's I thought he was good, and he can't hit a barn door. Adamas Traore doesn't have final product, but he can get you in the right areas. Pedent, Neto, we're talking about a lad who I actually would like as a sub for Liverpool a couple of years ago. They've got Diego Costa, I'm really not too sure you put him in that bracket, but he's still a known winner.
He just got himself sent off, so they're not playing footy until like January.
But they have the players there. It's just they're not up top. And who did they play on the weekend? The Arsenal, I think it was.
Oh, Arsenal. Yeah.
They created so many chances on the break, but no one could hit it between the two goalposts.
I was going to say, last year I think Everton stayed, because the teams who went down last year, like Norwich, was it Norwich, Burnley? You were like, they were always going to go. I think the lesser teams this year are better than those teams. Wolves are tending to get it, but I don't think Wolves and Norwich crap. You know what I mean?
Have you seen, just before we get too deep on Wolves, have you seen Everton's run of fixtures?
No, but
so Everton come back on Boxing Day against Wolves.
Yep.
At home.
6-pointer.
Jesus. Like, they then travel to Man City on New Year's Eve. Delightful. They then host Brighton. And Brighton are, let's be honest,
good.
Yeah, are still a good team. New manager Southampton with a winter break to have trained and got a couple of games back under the belt. David Moyes' West Ham, who again that's another team in around them. They then host Arsenal,
and then us.
Then the Merseyside derby, and again this is where Everton are at. Every game's huge. They then got Leeds. They then got Villa. They go away to Forest. They got Everton are fucked. And nobody. And again, no one likes to be the "I told you so" guy. And
I do. I love it.
Yeah, I don't particularly. I've said it before. I don't particularly not that enamoured of the idea of Everton going down, but they're going to go down unless they boot the manager and get someone actually good in.
Sean Dyche's.
And look, but like Aston Villa realised it wasn't working with Steven Gerrard, and they've gone and replaced him with a guy who wins.
A very good manager.
A very, very good manager who's managed at the top level, got European experience, and has won stuff, highly regarded. And the only reason, let's be honest, that he didn't have a better time at Arsenal is because people couldn't vibe with the fact that he said evening in a non-English way.
I love him. He's a person who just seems humble, and I absolutely love that.
Villarreal, that game in Villarreal we went to, they were brilliant for that first half. He knows how to play a team. Sevilla, they played Liverpool off the park at certain times. Well,
but even things like Leeds, they've got Jesse Marsh. Like they don't really like him. They've not totally warmed to him. But he's a progressive manager who's done his, you feel like he's followed a path, like he's got a playbook. He strikes me as someone who's a student to the game and knows how he wants to play. Frank Lampard, I don't get that feel from Frank Lampard at all. I get the feel, and I think actually think Gerrard's probably a better manager than him, but there'll be no way of proving that at this point. I think where Gerrard fell foul of was losing Bale, losing his right-hand man, who was, it's like if you took Pep Lijnders away from Klopp now and didn't replace him, Liverpool would struggle in the, you know what I mean? Not in the short term, but in the medium term, Liverpool would have some issues until they got someone else in, because it's a brains trust of people. Gary McAllister becoming your right hand man's not the kind of thing that's gonna make you a good guy there. Everton are fighting against David Moyes, who's been there and done it all. Against Steve Cooper, they might just go down because it's been too soon for Forest. But he's a good coach with a really good pedigree of coaching.
Bournemouth might end up with Bielsa, mind you, as well.
I mean, that would be
a nightmare.
Yeah, they'd be better sticking with O'Neill, I think. With Leeds, what they've got, right, they've got the sense to me, a little bit like how Everton ended last season. There'll be a couple of mad games near the end where they win like 4-3, because they've been doing that now, because they don't know when the beats. That's what they've got about them. The Leeds is that they just they've got, and like I say, Chloe said there, they score goals, so 22 goals is fabulous, really. It's the 26 they've led in, that's the problem, but yeah. They've got that in them. Leeds automatically feel to me like a team who finished like 17th with like a game to go, like their last game of the season, for example. Let's have a look who it is. Leeds last game, they have Spurs at home and they're 2-0 down and they win 3-2. That's what it just feels like. That's what they've got about them.
Everton's last 3 games.
Yeah, I've seen this. It's boss.
Man City, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home. So like, you're not only playing probably the champions at that point, you're also playing 2 teams who are almost guaranteed to be in that fight with you down there as well.
It's gonna be fun.
Do or die.
The thing about, sorry, to bring back up on Leeds, when I listen to Jesse Marsh, I actually think he's got a clue. I think they're trying to build something there. I think he does know what he wants, and sometimes individual errors and not marking people, that can happen with players at the back for Leeds.
Listen, that was a mad game the other day. Listen, they were 4-3. Just a lack of a bit of experience, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. But when I listen to him, I think, you know what, he actually talks some sense and he's passionate. Yeah. I don't get that from Frank Lampard. He's like a bored.
Yeah, I know he is, and he's got the meme of like smile, something funny. No, actually, back to my real personality. It's that they're in danger because they've been so blinded by. I don't get it, and again, look, I'm not meant to get it. It's not for me. But like that whole he gets us thing, and it's become a bit of a joke. I love it as a thing, by the way. But like, I don't get what it was that he did that rebirthed them. You know, I don't really. He took over. He became the manager.
If the fans took upon themselves to get behind the team,
exactly.
It didn't feel like it was Frankie Lampard.
Exactly,
doing
that's what I mean. He doesn't feel like the fucking figurehead. They need the same thing that we need, because they are us, just slightly different, a mirrored version of us in some regards. But we need to deify our managers. They love doing that too. Look at Doug Ferguson in his caretaker roles in there. They adored it. Go back to Kendall and stuff. They're crying out for a manager who actually gets them.
It's going to be Wayne Rooney.
It's got honestly, yeah, no, but that's what I mean.
It's probably going to be Wayne Rooney.
I know Ancelotti chose to leave, and God rightly so, because look what happened to him since. I wish he hadn't. But the but they were turning on him already, because that's. They don't want that. They don't want it. I actually don't think they want to be boss. They'd love it if they were, I think. Obviously, we all would. But they genuinely want someone. It's the Brighton argument of like, well, you can stave off relegation with Chris Hughton and play shit football, or you can take Graham Potter on, play better football, probably get about the same points, but have a better ride. They need a manager who understands what it is to be Everton, because it's a very niche.
It's going to be Wayne.
So yeah,
the flip side on them is right. Very very quickly on them is that if they go and sign the right striker in January, they could be fine. Yeah, because they're dead hard to score against.
They won't go because that's
who's he going to sign? Who's the most Everton signing striker this summer? I'm trying to think.
Chris Wood.
Oh. Yeah. We were joking about this yesterday.
Yeah, there we go.
Ronaldo's available.
Oh yeah.
Get him down there.
Come on.
I mean, there's no chance he'd want to go down to Everton, but I see in typical how we all do it, or how social media does it, that like, here's what they should do: sell Gordon, get 50 million, sell Calvert-Lewin, get 50 million, and buy. And I saw the list of all they should buy, and then that's ridiculous. Well, what's wrong with that? It's a perfect plan. It's like, as if all them players are going to come and play for Everton. You forget that sometimes people look at it and go, well, there's a fucking ground there that's like may or may not get finished. It's a fucking dilapidated wooden shithole where they actually play. Everyone's dead angry all the time about everything.
Global warming might be the end of be the end of Bramley-Moore as well.
No.
Only Everton could build a stadium right by the water as the tides are getting high. But sorry, I was just thinking of before, what they might end up doing is getting Rooney in, and then he shits the bed and they have to sack him again. They'd hate that. I was thinking this before, like, because he would go there. We know he would. He would go there, but if it goes badly and then you have to get rid of him, can they get rid of him? And it's like that's where it might become difficult for them. But I can't wait to watch it.
He's got his head screwed on.
On the Ronaldo thing, very quickly, can I just say, it's hard to walk into a room with Piers Morgan and come out like the biggest knobhead, and Cristiano's appear to have done that.
In a huge, I love that video someone's done of the one when Piers Morgan stormed off the morning show and Ronaldo walking off down the tunnel at Old Trafford to picture book blades.
Did you see Bruno Fernandes welcome him to the Portugal squad?
Oh, it was sensational.
And he shakes his hand, but he doesn't want it.
He doesn't shake his hand, does he? No, he reaches for it and he pats him on the arm and of like there's no way I can be seen to be shaking your hand here, mate, because you've just buried my football team. Bruno Fernandes will be made up of this because it's a bit like in wrestling where you do yourself for the next guy. So you do the job, so you're the guy on top, and then you don't leave the company with the belt. You basically hand the belt over and let them beat you as cleanly as possible, or as much way that makes you come over in the best light. Bruno Fernandes is now the king of Old Trafford because he gets to stand up now. He gets to go back to being their main man. Ronaldo leaves in a big fume, so no one can like accuse United of, as much as Ronaldo's tried to put all the blame on the football club. Everyone can now see what a knobhead Ronaldo is, and everyone else gets to be emboldened by it.
We can. I'm not too sure United fans can. I think a lot of them would continue.
Okay, a lot of the lads who were shouting Sue in the car park are going to be.
I think a lot of the same ones get it.
That's their fault for.
I think a lot of the same ones get it. And what he's done, he's actually made it easier for Erik ten Hag now. If Erik ten Hag would have just sold him in January, there'd have been a lot of like, fuck we signed Cristiano Ronaldo for. Now there'll be an active ground sort of fucking sell Cristiano Ronaldo. So in a way, he's made it easier. What he has made it harder to do is that I'll find someone who's going to fucking want him. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like I'm about to sell my car, so I'm just going to smash it up a couple of times before I sell. He's put a few dents in himself, hasn't he? Because if you're looking at that now, what level of the level of club he would like to go to, because he's Cristiano Ronaldo, there's a level where he'd rather just not play than go and turn out for someone. Yeah. Who's going to have him?
It can't be a club who value their own identity first and foremost.
Maybe
and
it can't be take him back.
Well, yeah, but they didn't like him either.
But they're also crap.
Yeah, I know.
But they're in desperate need.
But it's got to be a club who, because that's the thing, if you're prepared to burn Manchester United on the way out, who, loath as I am to say it, are one of the biggest football clubs on the planet.
Who idolise you as well.
Manchester United are bigger than any player that's ever played for Manchester United, and that's the way it should be, the way they run. One of the great things Fergie instilled in them. But you wouldn't want to go, if you were a club who had that kind of identity, you wouldn't want him there. Like maybe a Chelsea would, because they're a bit of a basket case of a club, and they don't really.
Graham Potter asking Ronaldo to do split.
No. But exactly.
Just go and watch Neil Maupay. Are we used to press the striker Cristiano? Fuck off.
Yeah. No, but exactly. But they're stupid, and they've got Todd Bowley's an idiot, and he might just buy it for shits and giggles. But the opposite is, you've got to go to a club whose identity is smaller, and it would be just a coup to have Ronaldo on the books. That would give them a real boost. But it can't be too small, because Ronaldo won't want to go to them. There's a real thin slice of not great but not terrible football clubs who really are probably too small for Ronaldo.
He was linked with Napoli in the summer, and that would have made sense. Not now.
Before you said how good they are.
They'd be mad to get him now, because how good they are and what they're doing. They'd be crazy. Yeah, there's no real fit for them. I'd like to say I feel sorry for them, don't.
No.
Listen, what I would say, and he had such a hard summer. He really did. And if that fucked your head up, you could understand that. That's what he's been through.
The personal stuff he's been
through in his personal life. You know, he lost a baby and his daughter was really ill. That could just mess your head up. And this could be a result of that. I don't want to say it is, but you know what I mean, like some of the things he said. But on the flip side, to go and do that interview with that fella for that outlet, where it also got printed in that other outlet, it's a bad look. Like, and the timing of it, he's clearly he's obviously done it now because the footy's over.
It's timed perfectly because
he gets to go away now.
Yeah.
He sets it on fire and he can just leave it for 6
the
weeks.
footy's finished, and it was before the World Cup started. It was the perfect window for him to drop it. And look, to be fair, again, it was the thing suddenly overlapped that it's amazing that he's not actually spoken out before now.
It's a great scoop for like Morgan's channel.
Yeah.
If I was the Portugal manager, I'd be livid.
Yeah.
I'd be absolutely livid. You're bringing this to a fucking World Cup. Every question I'm going to be asked now is, Cristiano's into, like, he's put Bruno Fernandes in a horrendous position. It's just, it's so selfish of him. That's what it is. There's ways to leave a footy club. He could have just went out. He could have released a statement saying, listen, I've asked to leave. I've made my reasons clear to the board. I've told the manager, listen, it isn't working, sound. I'm going to go. To come out and do it and like try and set Old Trafford on fire on the way out, like I say, regardless of what he was doing.
Players down.
Like
there was
slagging. Is he slagging the manager off? Slagging ex-legends off? It's
Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, poor Wayne again. It's like it's unsavoury to say the least. Like there's ways to leave a footy team, and you can leave a footy team by being a knobhead. Phil Coutinho and Luis Suarez, to a lesser extent, left Liverpool being knobheads, but they kind of be knobheads in the background. To come out, and Raheem Sterling did it in the foreground, and he again burned bridges at Liverpool because of it. Ronaldo now, he's one of Man United's greatest ever players. Like and that's a high list because they're such an established football team. It's with absolute world class players, and he's right at the top of them.
He might have fucked his chance at a statue by this.
It's his legacy's gone. It's like. He's up there with the bests, and all of them, the class of 1992 and all them, like just legends of the footy team, and he's as good as any of them, probably better than all of them. You're right. How can anyone now look at him in any other way and going, you've completely fucked this up, mate?
The thing is that you can just so easily blame it on the Glazers, on the way that the club is.
He did that as well. They took a shot.
But the thing is the fans are already fuming. They want new owners. They hate the way the club is built. This, instead of actually picking on Ronaldo and saying, lad, you're just a knobhead. Like, you could have just done it in a different way. Instead, you've called out all different players, your teammates, the people who you're supposed to support and help. You've ran down the tunnel. You've refused to come on. You've been put in the under-21 squad because of something that you've done badly. Instead of I just think I see their fans, and I don't know why this is, but I think they'll use this instead of an excuse of Ronaldo's just no longer a legend for us. I think they'll use it as, well, yeah, the reason he's done this is actually because of this and the way the top of our club is, and that you're aiming it at the wrong person. Sometimes you can't just aim it at the player. And there was a photo with Diego Dalot, I think yesterday, and he's on a bike, and Ronaldo, I've never seen him look any happier in my life. And Diego Dalot's like, don't get a photo of me, lad.
You know what's mad as well on it is that some of the stuff Ronaldo said about United was right. Like we've all said the ground is falling apart. Old Trafford's a shithole now. It was the gold standard stadium, now it's not. And he says like it's the same training facilities that there was when I left 20. That all is great. And the Glazers, he could have just, if he'd just said all that, United fans would have gone, he gets us. He's one of us. He's sticking up for us. He's doing what Fergie never. He's taking on the Glazers. But then by burning down ex-legends and the current manager,
he knows they won't let him go. So because he's too valuable to them, because that's what Man United are. You know, at the top end, they're a money-making machine. There's so much more value in owning Ronaldo, so you can sell your Ronaldo shirt and your Ronaldo merch.
Can't sell it now. Who's going to buy them now?
No, but that's what I mean. That's what he's done. He's done the Barcelona Real Madrid approach. But normally what happens when you get poached, they'll sow all those seeds of discontent. They'll do half of the hard work for you. They'll meet you halfway. He's had to go off book himself. He's had to do all the work to try and get himself to extricate himself. And by the looks of it, without an actual nailed on destination in mind. I mean, he must have an idea of where he's going, and he's realised this is what I've got to do to make it happen. But yeah, wild. I mean, I'm here for it because United are turning a bit of a corner under Ten Hag, so I'm quite happy for them to get dragged through the shit.
I'd love that to set Manchester United up in flames in terms of it's already top to bottom. There's problems behind the manager, and there's problems there with recruitment and everything. But I want this to set them up in flames. I want them to crumble because of it. And then you can,
unfortunately, they'll be able to build from this. They'll get a big chunk of wages back. There'll be a lot of pressure off a lot of the other lads.
It's a bit Arteta, Aubameyang as well. You know, it will. If he wins that battle, which he's going to win it probably. Yeah, listen, Ronaldo took shots at the way out, but ultimately the best thing Arteta did was take on his
100%.
captain and win. And now Ronaldo is a different stratosphere than Aubameyang. But Ten Hag's going to come out of this with major credit in the bank.
I think he will, but I mean, Rio Ferdinand the other day.
He's a fucking idiot.
I know he's an idiot, but if he, who has been in football and knows what it means to win and to be a team,
still backing Ronaldo.
If he's backing Ronaldo in this situation, then for people who idolise him growing up, and also I'd love to say that he did in that interview, which I haven't obviously listened to, I just read the quote. He agrees to the fact that he was about to go to Manchester City, but Sir Alex Ferguson said, don't do that, you're going to ruin your legacy. So he actually wanted to leave. I mean, we all know this.
Don't ruin your legacy, son.
Ruin your legacy.
Here's Piers Morgan.
Yeah, but he said the reason I didn't go there was because Sir Alex Ferguson came in and said, you can't go to Manchester City, and he listened. But, like...
I wish he had.
Yeah.
I wish he had of.
Right.
There wouldn't be hell on Ireland for them, would there? No,
yeah. We had a super chat come in to the earlier question. Earlier question says, Surab Patil, I would want to live Van Dijk's life. Yeah. Don't think I would ever reach that level of calmness in my life and be the best centre-back ever. And he's just gorgeous as well, isn't he? Like,
he's got a lot going for him.
He's got a lot of positive things happening in his life. Okay, thank you so much for joining us for the podcast. Right, I just want to make a point actually, because I kind of got sucked into a bit of conversation on Twitter, which I tend not to do. But I've had a few people, and we're getting a few comments, and I just want to sort of address something. People are asking us, because we're talking about Liverpool's ownership thing, and we're talking about, you know, the morals of Liverpool Football Club and who might take over from FSG, or who might invest with FSG. And I've seen a lot of people saying in reply, why don't we talk about AXA? Why don't we talk about Standard Chartered? Why don't we talk about Nike? And what I kind of said on Twitter last night to a bunch of people, I don't really understand what the negativity is around those brands. So what I will say though is, it's not because we're looking to hide, and occasionally we get accused of being like in FSG's pocket, which honestly I can't say it in any more ways. It couldn't be further from the truth.
I really wish we were.
No. And I'm jokingly, and I've said this before, if billionaires wanted to come and throw money at us to say nice things, I don't have that much money in my life that I wouldn't turn down loads of money to do it, but they don't. So they don't. I just weirdly, for some reason, Jurgen Klopp likes us. So when we get interviews with Jurgen Klopp, is because Jurgen Klopp wants to talk to us. That's why those kind of things happen. John Henderson let us do a documentary about him because we painted a mural about him. That helps, you know what I mean? That's just the weird things where you make friends and influence people along the way, nothing to do with the owners. But to the point, obviously we talk about morals and what have you. If anyone is an expert on any of these, because again, I can't even tell you exactly what they are. I've seen a couple of people sent me some screenshots and said this is a thing, but then someone immediately retorted and said, no, that's out of date information, you need to do your research. It showed to me what a minefield it is and why I've not talked about things, because they've not really crossed my path. I trust Spirit of Shankly when if there's major moral contradictions in Liverpool and how they run, they're on it, and I tend to take my lead, and we as a channel take our lead from what Spirit of Shankly do. They're now enshrined on the board members of Spirit of Shankly. So Liverpool have got there's a closer watch on the activities of Liverpool Football Club. So things tend to are going to get flagged up more easily as well. But what I will say is, if there is anyone out there who is an expert on such things and can present a balanced argument and is prepared to come and put their face on camera or voice on podcast in person, then we are more than happy to have those debates and unearth things if there's things to be unearthed. Honestly, what I'd rather us be is just what we always were. We were a comedy sketch channel 10 years ago. I used to do impressions of Frank Lampard and Fernando Torres, you know what I mean? But I'm aware of, you know, our increasing role and you know and size of audience and stuff like. So if there's a spotlight we can shine in a positive way on things, we've tried to do that in the past. You know, we've raised money for charities, local charities. We help with the Quest for Justice with Hillsborough, raise money for food banks et al. But if there's causes that people think that we need to do, obviously there's a bazillion causes at all different kinds. All you've got to do is stand outside Westminster on any given day, and there's people protesting for a variety of things. We're only a number of people. There's only so many things we can do, and we want to continue to follow and support the football club, of course. But if there are things that we feel are real, huge moral issues that we should be aware of, come and help make us aware of them, and don't just say this. You're hiding from this. Tell us the research. Point us in the direction where we can grow our understanding of things. That's all I ask in return before people say you throw wild accusations, and particularly, by the way, accusations of racism and stuff over the ownership thing, which is, honestly, I can't put into words how far off the mark and how incredibly offensive it is when people do throw those things. I understand it's the internet. Weeding out trolls, or people who are actively just trying to get a response and trying to muddy people's reputations, from genuine people who've maybe misinterpreted things. It's a very hard balance to find out who's being genuine and who's just doing it for a laugh. So just want to try and make that perfectly clear. But again, if you are the kind of person who's in a position of expertise, then we've got a platform for you. If you want to come, just interact at the redmentv.com if you want to email there. And we can get the ball rolling on that, because I live to learn more, and I love to be educated on things. My opinions on things are fluid, and if things can be proven to me, then you'll find an advocate in me in many ways, shapes or form. And lastly, before we go, the last thing I just want to clear up, when I've been talking, because I was put on the spot on the overlap around potential owners for Liverpool.
I was about to ask you about this. Do you mind if I ask a question about that very quickly? I feel like you got put on the spot. It was more the follow-up from Neville, who spoke with such clarity when he by name and countries. I don't think it did anyone any favours. Would you like just to clarify? I might as well ask you, basically, when you said this, I wouldn't like it. You basically said, like, all billionaires, for the majority, are probably crap. There are certain ones, but that was nothing to do with where they're from. It felt like, because it came on the back of Neville mentioning countries, it felt like a link was made. And I watched the video, and I could see where people who made it. I know you, so no, it wasn't, but you can see why people made that link. It felt like the second part of his question really didn't do no favours.
No, and what I was trying to get across, and what I've always tried to get across, and I realise sometimes you have to just sort of say these things as clearly as possible, is, look, you can't. No one. We're not like people who go over to other countries and tell people how to live. It's not what I'm suggesting. But from my perspective on it, my base level when I talk about the morals of Liverpool Football Club is, I don't want someone to come in to own the football club who doesn't respect women's rights, who doesn't respect gay rights, and doesn't respect trans rights. They are massively important things to me, and that is like it. And I saw someone saying that means you don't like brown people, which is fucking nonsense. Because I think we can all agree there's people of all races who don't respect women's rights, gay rights, or trans rights. It's got nothing to do exclusive with where you're from or what your racial background is, or even what religion you follow, because
you could get an owner from America who goes against them, and you could get an owner from the Middle East who is pro. It doesn't matter. I'm with you, and I've had it very quickly. I don't piggyback. Like, I made a comment saying I would like Liverpool not to be state owned. I just wouldn't. It wouldn't say country. I don't care what state that is. I don't care where in the world they're from. Africa, Asia, Europe, anything. I saw someone mention like the Norwegian fund as well. I just wouldn't be comfortable with any country, because I would like Liverpool to be owned in a different way. Ideally, it wouldn't be anyone, it'd be us, but that's just never going to happen. And what does my head in, and I get it, is that people say to me, well, FSG aren't exactly wrong. I know. Absolutely. This thing, and you made it very clear, not being part of FSG out doesn't mean you're FSG in. There's a lot of people, and I feel like I sit in this, and I don't know where you do personally, it's like, I'm kind of in the middle. I'm quite excited by the prospect of new owners, but there's also a negative to it. Anyone who's paying it either way, that there's no benefits to a new owner or that there's no negatives, are wrong. There are pros and cons, and I think we're all trying to say is just be careful. And we're entitled to be wary, and I'm getting pissed off of getting accused of X, Y and Z. There's also the channel and me personally.
Well, we saw it with Jurgen Klopp the other week, who made a comment, an innocuous comment, around there's certain clubs that can do what they want, and was accused of basically xenophobia, and he's taken that to court, because again, these things shouldn't be thrown around willy-nilly, and I've said it before, it's incredibly offensive, and it's just not on.
We've had it, because I give Naby Keita a lower rating once on a player rating than Jordan Henderson, and I got DM saying, you're a racist. It's fucking stupid. Grow the fuck up. Racism is such a huge problem in all society. Don't willy-nilly throw it around, because you lessen the impact of when someone is a fucking racist prick. It lessens it when everyone's getting banned at it. And I feel like at the moment we're taking a few shots that we probably don't deserve to be taking.
No, because it's a very divisive thing. And to make the point on it, I could say I genuinely don't have a strong feeling towards FSG. They're just the billionaires who are funded, or probably less than they should have done, but the billionaires have owned Liverpool during the period of greatest success I've ever seen in my life. That is all so that's the only positives I have are just from that perspective on them. I don't care about them. You could literally, every single member of FSG could walk away from that business and another set could walk in and I would have no more or less feeling about it, provided Liverpool continue to win and be successful and not cross over certain boundaries. Then, you know, I think a lot of people would feel along that way.
I feel like we need to address things. Can I address one more thing as well?
Yeah.
I've worked here for a year now. I know this shit, okay? Our biggest sign-ups come... Have a guess, Chloe, you were in here at the time. Since last October when I joined full-time until today, what day do you think got us more sign-ups than anything else in terms of Redmen Plus subscriptions? Because we get accused of, you do this for access or you be nice for interviews, or what do you think the single biggest day of in terms of driving subscriptions was, if you had to have a guess?
This year?
In the last 12 months, calendar years.
Probably something to do with transfers.
Exactly. Luis Diaz signing drove more like subscriptions to Redmen Plus than any interview. We've interviewed all kinds. We've interviewed ex-players, we've interviewed managers. The single biggest day we've had is transfers. So for us as a business, if we got owners in, right, who were funding Nottingham Forest level signings of last season, we as a business will be better off financially. It does better than, like, honestly, with all due respect, like we love having interviews with the players and stuff, but like they're not really driving subscript like that. They don't. It's transfer news. So I want to put that out there, that if you think that if we're acting as purely like money grabbers, which again, we would want people signing people every day, because I promise you, like hundreds and hundreds of people subscribed. The day we signed Luis Diaz, and then we had Neil Jones on, who knew all about it. It's honestly, from a business point of view, what does my head in, Paul? I know we're off on one. Is like, people speak about things as fact. And they say, you only do that because of this. No, that's your opinion and you're wrong, and we keep telling you you're wrong. We're just lads who talk about footy, or ladies who talk about the footy. This hidden agendas thing, it drives me insane. It really does. I know we shouldn't let it bother me, but I feel like we're having an open session here.
No. And again, I just want to be clear, because I think most people who know us, and most people who've been with us for a long time, would know that the random shots that get fired are incredibly wide of the mark. They genuinely are. And I know we've reached the point where you can find a narrative there, so you want to say why someone's got to top. It's you can go, it must be because of X, Y, and Z.
It's actually belittling to you,
well, no, but it is. I do find that a bit offensive. I'll let it go, because it is what it. If people could accuse it, I to have my morals questioned and to have my integrity questioned, and moreover to have the blood, sweat, and tears. And there's been a lot of that, like fucking all kinds of stuff that's happened behind the scenes on Redmen, where we have put up above and beyond to maintain it, to make it survive. You know what I mean? To go. We put ourselves.
When I was working 60-hour-weeks last week to sort a payment issue out for someone to say the only reason you're successful is because you're in FSC's pocket. And I've been here for 6 months. You've been here when you were living, it was in your house, and you were those days when you didn't pay yourself for a couple of months because you were trying to get the business to succeed. I find it offensive on your behalf, and I find it hard to keep my mouth shut, because you're more classy than me. I think that's what it is. You're more willing to take a backseat. But like, we're a local business that hires 12 people in the city. We've got youngsters like Chloe coming through, who we've actively went and sought and employed. To say the only reason we do that is because you're bankrolled, and that's the best thing. We're bankrolled by these people. They're saying, "Oh my god," it's hugely offensive. It really is.
No, and you're right. And again, there's personal sacrifices made along the way. And I joke about this, but there was a time when I was sitting in the baby's bedroom editing with water leaking in through the ceiling because we couldn't afford to fix the roof in the house. But we were keeping this float, and we had 3, probably 4 employees at the time. And again, not to fucking cry on it. It's fine. We do well. We've made a success of it. And I don't care if people think it's because of this. That doesn't really whatever. People can have those opinions, because as much as they're annoying and they are offensive,
it's an opinion.
But it's again
a wrong one.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's the problem with opinions on subject matters. I don't think opinions, when things are based in fact, it's not actually an opinion.
It's just right or wrong.
You're just incorrect. And that's the thing that bothers me. So if you think we're in FSG's pocket, you're incorrect. It's not an opinion. You're factually incorrect. Now that doesn't say we haven't been allowed into open training sessions.
Have you ever spoke to anyone who works for FSG?
We
briefly bumped into Mike Gordon.
I had a 30-second conversation with Mike Gordon once at an open training session at Fenway Park. And it was like, someone went, "This is Mike Gordon," and I would have had no idea who he was. And he said hello, very cordial. It was me, James Pearce, and I think Ian Doyle and maybe Christian Walsh were there. We said hello, and he went cool, and he kind of got on with his day. I'd love to have a chat with Mike Gunner, but he's on my list of like really fascinating people to interview. Like I've spoken to Jurgen Klopp a couple of times, but you were there with the other week at the Strasbourg game where Jurgen saw us and called us over to talk. Like that wasn't because John Emery didn't come down and tap me on the shoulder and go, right, I'm going to take you through this back door here, and here lies Jurgen Klopp, and here's what you can and can't say. Jurgen wanted to speak to us and has done. He was the one who come to me on the red carpet when we were interviewing the players. And again, if people go, well, you're at the red carpet, it's like, I know, but there comes a point where with a degree of legitimacy, you ask, can we go to these things? And there's a PR cycle. It's the same way that the Echo get into things, the same way that, like, there's like, if anyone knows who Click Liverpool are, I'm amazed they still exist. This teeny tiny website that's gone for years that covers Liverpool and Everton, get invited to these things as well. There's lots of other Liverpool establishments that have been around that didn't get invited to stuff that now do get invited to stuff because they've built a degree. It's just how the world works. I don't fully understand it. It's influencers now who get better access than we do, loads better. Like, you know, and fair play to them. When I see I was on the train with FIFA Manny the other day, and he'd just done a thing down at the AXA. I was dead jealous of that. But like, you know, I think, well, God, I'm putting blood, sweat, and tears in every week, and he just gets to play FIFA and come and gets to hang out with the players. It's not. It's a professional jealousy, but I'm so made up for when people like Adam Rowe gets more stuff than we do and stuff. We're in that weird in-between phase of the club don't pull us close because, and I know this for fact because people inside the club who've told me, who are just employees, that they consider us competitors. They can't prop us up. There's things that they've got no choice because, as I say, the manager goes, I want to speak to them, or a brand will go, well, we want to work with Redmen, so you need to allow Redmen to be in the room on these things.
Good PR for something if we can promote something that they've done.
No, exactly. And again, that's, I say, brand books and brandings. That tends to be how we get it. And on pre-seasons, they'll let us into the press box, which I loathe, by the way. It's just not my cup of tea. But that's the only time when I can get in a football game for free. And more often than not, actually, I'd say 9 times out of 10, I buy a match ticket as well, and most of the times I'll go and sit, particularly in aways. I'll go and sit in the crowd, and I'll have paid my ticket. I paid £800 for a ticket to that Man United friendly in Thailand. Ridiculous, you know what I mean? And but that was what it costs to go. The cost of doing it is extortionate, and that's why we say again, we're funded by the people who subscribe to us.
Not by John Emery.
We're funded by the people who subscribe to Redmen Plus and the people who watch on YouTube and listen on Spotify.
If
and
I
all
was
that.
funded by John Emery, I'd do a couple of years here and then go and live elsewhere and come back for the football.
I wouldn't, honestly. Again, I like talking about Liverpool, but I would love to do what Gary Lineker does and do 2 shows a week and sit back and enjoy your life in between. I'd love to spend more time with my kids.
Thanks for the note, guys. Thanks for coming into the call.
Yeah.
No, but it's a case of like, why would you choose to live? You could live, and I would never leave Liverpool because of Liverpool Football Club solely. But you ask millions around the world, why would anyone want to live in a rainy, cold place when you could go to Madrid and just have a lovely time constantly?
But look, I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. But again, we've reached the point where every time Liverpool have put a bad run of results together, why I've not addressed it previously is because I wrote 2 books when we won the Champions League and when we won the league, and the comments were a big part of that book. I took comments from below our videos, and so I follow the trends of how people talk about Liverpool and how people talk about us. And whenever Liverpool have a bad run of results, now fortunately under Jurgen Klopp, sometimes it can be 2 draws back to back. That's how bad it got. And people immediately, when Liverpool have 2 bad results, all of their we're in FSG's pocket stuff comes out, and it's like, so I don't normally engage with it because I know that Liverpool will win a couple of games and people will realise it's not a real thing and they'll get on with supporting the football team. It's like when people have got nothing else to do, they'll turn their fury towards us for whatever reason. They might just not like our voices and faces, which is cool. That's the thing I can get behind. I don't like my face or voice either.
I'm not particularly fond of mine.
I know, but we all like that. But it's reached a bit of a head of late, and because of the takeover stuff and our perceived stance on the ownership, we seem to have ended up as like the poster children for pro FSG, which is not the case.
Do we even have a stance? We don't have a stance.
No, look, honestly, Steve, and I can't speak for everyone who works. We've got 12 people who work here. Everyone's got variations on
Producer Joe hates them, don't you, Joe? Yeah.
He said, yeah, there you go.
You're sacked, Joe.
Yeah. That's you cut off, Joe.
No more fancy buffets for you.
But as I say, my take, it's so broad, but my simplest of takes on it is, if they'd spent more money, might Liverpool have won more trophies? It's possible they might have won more trophies. But when I look at my life as a Liverpool fan, I look at it as a whole, and I am so pleased because we went through the doldrums. I was at the 10-year Istanbul anniversary event at the Echo Arena, and I cried my eyes out at that. Cried my eyes out like a baby, because it was 10 years on from Istanbul. We just got battered by Stoke. Steven Gerrard left the football club, and I was like, we are never going to get to experience that again in my lifetime. And then within 4 years, we'd won it again. And we've been to, and then since then we've been to 2 more finals around it, and we've won the league since then. That's why I am not pitchfork in hand trying to oust the owners, because compared to what has gone previously, they've been the best owners Liverpool have had since it became a thing. In the Premier League era, they have delivered the most success. And whether it's the people they've brought in, or whether it's down to Jurgen Klopp, or it's down to Michael Edwards, or it's down to the players on the pitch, it is, by the way, they're the guys who've gone and kicked the balls in, and put the players on the pitch and all that kind of stuff. They're the ones I really care about. That's as far as my opinion on FSG goes. I want new owners to come in and do what they've done,
with a bit more dough.
But with more dough to spend on players, and more dough to put into community projects, and more dough to help people. But for LFC and the community do really good things. We've increased the size of the stadium. They've put the new training ground in place.
And we won everything.
They've engaged with people like Jamie Webster and Spirit of Shankly and Spy and Cop 1906 to help give Liverpool fans a greater voice. They've put fans on the board. That they're all really, really good things, and I won't see them wiped away, because they're important. And my fears are, if you got someone who come in who took that stuff away, or didn't respect the fans enough. And to go back to my original point, Liverpool is a multicultural city. It is a multicultural football club. Everyone of all race, creeds and religions are welcome at Anfield, and they should be, because we're a brilliant football club, and Liverpool as a city will welcome all people. We're a port city. We love people coming in. The Scouse accent exists because of people coming from different places and bringing bits and pieces of culture with them. It's why we feel like we stand apart from other cities. But I would be very uncomfortable if an owner came in who was dead set and made people feel unwelcome at Anfield. So like I have to say, if it was someone who didn't believe, or and we've seen quotes come out from various places, and that can come from the far right in America, saying we can come from extremism of all different areas around the globe. I wouldn't want our female or gay or trans fans to feel unwelcome, and we saw, and this happens, and we always say this, by the way, when Liverpool supported Luis Suarez in the racism stuff, I know a lot of black Liverpool fans who felt very uncomfortable going back to Liverpool, because it felt as though Liverpool was saying that we're okay with racism, and that's an example where Liverpool need to be careful on that. But hopefully it won't be an issue, and hopefully we can just all kick on and have a better football club and continue to, because we just want to beat Man City more often. We want to win more silverware. We want the best players to want to come and play, and to be able to give Jurgen Klopp the best possible tools to go into that fight. Everybody, I think, and I don't speak for all Liverpool fans, but that's the one thing I can say I think we can all agree on if we're Liverpool fans. We want Jurgen Klopp to stay as long as possible. We want him to be able to build a dynasty at Liverpool, to conquer what was gone before, to better Shanks and to better Paisley, and to absolutely bury the legacy of Alex Ferguson at Manchester United as well. And if that happens, then let's all get behind it. I cannot wait. But as I say, from our life and experience, you have to be aware that things might not go that way, but let's hope that it does. So anyway, look, I for most of you, I'm sure you didn't feel we needed to do that, but there's obviously a few things we need to get off our chest then, so thank you so much for allowing us.
I wasn't expecting that, but I feel a little bit better after.
I do, and I had this last night engaging with people on Twitter.
I was texting you going, you're going to end up wrecking your head here.
No, but there was a couple of guys there who I had a bit of back and forth with, and I explained to them that I won't have people accuse me of abhorrent things like racism. I will not be called a racist when I am not. I won't stand for that. That crosses a line. But I will admit when I'm
if you don't know enough about the subject, then that's We're all here to be educated.
100%. Yeah. We started life basically as a protest channel. You know what I mean? We started life, covering Liverpool protests. When things need to be covered, we've been there and covered them. We don't temper our views based on other things. That's just the way it is. If a footballer plays shit, we'll say a footballer's played shit. If a manager does shit, we'll say a manager's done shit.
If the owners try and put
we were fucking like the fucking Super League. Oh, I can't. I was there. Like I was. It was like
the furlough stuff. We were on the show that they go, what the fuck is that? The ticket stuff. I walked out of Anfield, £77.
We covered the protests of the thing. We've done this. People say we haven't. We have. I don't have a passionate love for the current owners. I just like that they've been there while Liverpool have won, so they get a bit of credit for that. But that's as far as it goes. Right. Please feel free to talk with us in the comments on all of this stuff, by the way. I'm happy to engage with stuff. As ever, look, abuse will not be tolerated. We will not tolerate unsolicited abuse. If you disagree with us, disagree with us. You're entitled to disagree with us. That's what it is to be human. If you're factually incorrect on stuff, though, then you will be called out back on that. And us too, by the way. I get facts wrong all the time, and I'm happy to be corrected because it makes me a better, more rounded, more intelligent person when I'm corrected. My mother was a teacher. I've been raised being corrected on every single thing that I've done and said for my entire life, so I'm used to it, and it's made me better. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much everyone who's joined us live. You guys are absolutely incredible. I'll just check if we had no more super chats or anything, because I get shouted at for missing them. We have not. Thank you, guys. Come and check out Podcast Extra. We're going to be doing some more light-hearted chat around Chloe's mum dancing on the bar in Coyote Ugly with Chris Pajak. Come and join us on Redmen Plus for that. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for your support throughout the mid-season-ish so far. Plenty more to come during the World Cup break, and we'll see you there.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that show. Did you know Redmen Plus subscribers get access to their exclusive Facebook group? Yes, there is a Redmen Plus subscribers group on Facebook just for them. So if you want to get involved with like-minded Reds and avoid the idiots on Twitter and normal Facebook and all that, sign up to Redmen Plus, enter your username as you sign up to the Facebook group, and you'll get access to... Ta-da.